Welcome to the Recruiter Podcast. I'm going to get to today's special second guest, now my first guest, here in just a moment. But as I remind people, this thing ain't free. So I'm going to thank a couple friends of the program here, and we're going to start off with the Rockstar Automotive Unconference. And actually, it's a week from today. Would that be, Naomi, the 13th, right?
Yes.
13th and 14th in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I can't stand Las Vegas, but it's a great place to hold a conference. So, our buddies from Rockstar ask us, "Are you frustrated or even a little burned out by the noise surrounding so many auto conferences?" Well, I think you probably are. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of choices. There's a lot to pick from. Here's some reasons. No particular order. First of all, I send them money every month. So we're a sponsor. AutoMax Recruiting is a sponsor of the Rockstar Conference. Now, that's only meaningful from this standpoint that last year our budget was we spent a lot of money on conferences, and at the end of the year, sat down as a team, and we decided to only sponsor one throughout the year, just one. And there's a lot. And our budget was, for a company our size, pretty substantial. And we decided to only hook up with one, and that was the friends at Rockstar. Rockstar, obviously, of course, is a friend of our program, too. So a little bit of it comes back to us, but the speakers there, it's predominantly female, and just some of the top names in the speaking world. These people, men and women, get paid big money to come speak. They speak at Rockstar for free, and the reason they speak at Rockstar for free is because of the overall idea behind Rockstar. There's not going to be a lot of word track learning there. So if you're going there for that, it's not going to happen. If you want to participate in taking personal responsibility and changing your own life, you're going to get help there. And if you're a salesperson, let's say, and you're a 8-car a month salesperson, going to take you to 12, take you to 15, take you to 18, so on and so forth. If you're a service advisor and you're writing 20, 30, 40 ROs a day, and your customer pay ROs at 1.3, and it should be at 2.5 hours per RO or whatever. Honda, what would be good for a Honda? 2.5?
Honda is 1.4.
1.4?
Yeah.
So I hit
Doing a lot of maintenance.
Yeah. Well, it's important. So now, and Rockstar's not going to give you word tracks on, although I have some that we can talk about that have been around forever that I think dealers get away from, but they'll give you the motivation. That's not right. The personal development that you're going to need to achieve those kind of numbers and raise your income and raise your standard of living and change your life, and not only with money, but in your family and your relationships and so forth, which I think is very important. It's there everywhere. All you got to Google is Rockstar Unconference, and you'll find it. They are literally everywhere. So make your plans right now. Vegas is so cheap to get in and out of. The hotel is very reasonably priced. The room blocks are dirt cheap. It's on Fremont Street. It's fun. It's all the food's for free. It's top notch. Another friend of the program is our friends at Tacobi. Tacobi's just a crazy interesting company. What they've done in being able to bring in-market leads into your business is it's unusual. It's mind-blowing. You sign up with Tacobi, and quite literally, if you follow what they say and ask you to do, you're going to find immediate results. Immediate results. It's not something you're going to put in your pipeline, although there is a pipeline. You're going to sell cars, more cars, immediately. In-market buyers, just go to Tacobi. That's TECOBI. We've helped them with recruiting. They're an awesome company, great people to work for and with. Recommend them highly. Next friend of the program is our friend Troy Spring and his team from Dealer World. That's mydealerworld.com. I like calling them an ad agency. They call themselves a performance agency, but they handle everything. from digital to, I kid Troy about, do you guys still do placemats at diners and stuff? And it's like, no, dude, we don't do that. But they'll do billboards or, whatever else you need. So they're an awesome company, a friend of the program, been around for a long time, serious growth. And the reason they've grown is because they really care. They're a relationship marketing company. And I know words like that get thrown around a lot, and it sounds so cliche. It's like relationships, environment, culture, yada, yada, yada. This guy bought one of those Mercedes Sprinter vans, and the owner, Troy Spring, and he'll literally just go see a client. And it's like, I don't know, that doesn't happen much anymore. It's like everything's done by phone, text, email, what have you. He's going to come face to face with you and figure it out and make sure that what you bought and the budget that you allowed yourself is going to maximize your profits. And that's really what should be all about anyway. So we're big fans of Dealer World and Troy Spring. And the last one is something that I love talking about because we use them. And we have an alliance, a partnership with Automotive HR. Automotive HR is kind of a do-it-yourself, DIY recruiting platform. Takes you from posting ads 24/7, 365, no upcharge. Literally, you can run every position in your dealership 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you never know when that top talent, that air quote superstar, is going to be available to you. So it's important to have those ads running all the time. It has its own what's called ATS, applicant tracking system, so you're not dealing with a million resumes that you got to throw into a special file in your Outlook or what have you. I mean, their social media profiles. It's amazing software that they developed, and none of it's white labeled. It's all the Silicon Valley geeks. The company's located in Orange County. They're amazing. Electronic onboarding. It's in our opinion, and it's hard to collect actual hard data on this, but the anecdotal data would suggest that most people, in our opinion, and from what we've seen and observed over 21 years and doing 18,600 recruiting campaigns, we figured some of this stuff out, or we're getting there anyway, that most of the turnover, and in our opinion, 50% of the turnover in a car dealership takes place within hours of starting. They get there, and the first thing, they don't know they're supposed to be, the hiring manager forgot that person's going to start that day. So the first thing they do is they load them up with a stack full of, for those of you that are listening on iTunes and so forth, a big stack of paperwork of I-9s and this and that and another thing. So the first couple hours is just wasted paperwork time. And there's no onboarding. It gets all screwed up. So much of that stuff can be done electronically up front. And that's just one of the million things that Automotive HR does. When dealers say, and they literally say these words, Craig, Joe, Ernie, whomever, one of our recruiter trainers or one of our in-house recruiters when we do off-site recruiting is, where did you find these people? I've been running ads for, these aliens, where did you find these people? It's predominantly because of Automotive HR. So I highly recommend it. They're a great company. You can actually, we have a code, and that code is the Recruiter Podcast. All you got to do is call my son Joe Lockard, who's the Director of Operations at AutoMax, at 800-878-5090, 800-878-5090. Ask for Joe, say the Recruiter Podcast, get a discount on the platform itself, and it's dirt cheap 1 month agreements. It's pretty much a zero-brainer. So the last thing I need to do is tell you fine ladies and gentlemen out there that the Recruiter Podcast can be seen live stream, which I'm assuming most of you are on right now on our YouTube channel at AutoMax Recruiting. AutoMax Recruiting, subscribe. That would be cool. And we're live streamed to YouTube, and we live stream to Facebook, our business page, AutoMax Recruiting. It gets a little tricky there because we have two. One's AutoMax Recruiting and Training. One is AutoMax Recruiting. The live stream's AutoMax Recruiting. So hit that like button, hit the notifications, and when we do these podcasts, they'll be there. There's also, if you can go to our site, AutoMax Recruiting and Training, a couple days later, they're posted on the site. We're also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So with that, I have this awesome person sitting across from me right now.
Hello.
Hi, Naomi. I love the name Naomi.
Thank you.
It's just such an awesome name.
Thank you.
Is
You
that
know,
is that a family name or
It is.
Yeah?
I had a great aunt. Her name was Naomi, and I used to hate the name.
A great aunt?
Yes.
Aunt.
Aunt.
That's a Virginia thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aunt. I used to hate the name when I was little.
Why?
You know what? I couldn't find any cool gadgets or gizmos with my name on it. You know,
Oh,
like keychains.
keychains.
I'm like, they're not gonna have Naomi.
That's a good point. That sucks.
But I love it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
It's
name.
unique.
So thanks so much for being on the show.
welcome.
I know you had to. I watched some of your travels yesterday with your friend Erica. Is it?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I have a
She's
daughter
probably
named
watching
Erica.
right now. She's shopping.
Oh, she's shopping. Hi, Erica. All right. You're gonna have to put that credit card in the hotel refrigerator when you get home. So, are you guys staying the night or?
We're gonna drive home tonight.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, we're gonna meet
Whoa.
up with a couple of people from Rise and Grind at around 6:30.
Josh?
No, I met with him yesterday.
Yeah. I think
Josh.
he might be on the show down the road
You
here.
should definitely have him.
Yeah.
It's a plethora of wisdom.
Cool.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
a good people. But we're gonna meet up with some people on South Street at some restaurant. I forgot the name already.
Philly's cool, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna wait until like 8 or 9 tonight to leave, so we miss all the traffic.
Yeah, that's a real good idea.
Yeah, and it's only a 4-hour drive, so
To Richmond?
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I've made that drive. Well, let's see. You're going to go south, so tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you should be okay.
Yeah,
You should be okay. Are you north of Richmond?
I'm south of Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you know what? I'm staying with Erica. She's in Richmond, so
Oh, okay.
we'll be good.
All right. Look, just a tiny bit closer, about a fist away there.
A little closer.
There you go. Perfect. That's perfect.
I'll move this closer.
Girls in the car business,
Yes,
women in automotive,
we exist.
in the service department, no less.
Mm-hmm.
Who allowed you in there? What
Oh.
guy allowed you to work in there? How did that happen? How could that? You're supposed to be a receptionist
Yeah.
or work in the office.
No,
No,
I would die.
answer the phone.
Hello.
But you started answering the phone.
I did. I'll tell you what happened. So
Please.
I was working at Starbucks. I had only ever done retail or food service. You know, I was a manager at Lowe's, and then I was a manager at Starbucks. And my friend Angela, I hope she's watching. I owe her.
Tag her on the replay.
Yeah, I will. She came by and she seen me one day, and I had closed the night before and opened that day. And she's like, "You look really stressed out." I was like, "Yes, I am." She said, "Do you need a new job?" And I said, "Where is hiring?" And she's like, "Well, I work at a body shop. You can come be a receptionist. I'm sure I can get you on." And I was like, "I'll take it." So a couple of days later, I ended up getting the job, and for the first time in my life, I had like a consistent schedule. Yeah, I'd always done retail, so I was always all over the
Right.
place, you know. And I liked it. Like, I got to know a little bit about cars, and then eventually, within about a year or so, I got a promotion to be a dispatcher on the mechanical side at one of the service centers in that dealer group.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a standalone body shop. It was a
No.
body shop attached to a store.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then once I learned about the flow of the shop, you know, I was pretty good at multitasking, they seen. So then I got a promotion to be a service advisor. I've been doing it ever since.
Right. 7, 8
Almost
years?
7 years, yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I can't remember the first time I saw or experienced a woman in a service department. I know in the mid 90s when I was running a store, I put 2 in because there was a change going on that, you know, because typically the career arc back then was, you know, you started changing oil in cars, you become a B mechanic maybe,
Right.
and if you were even half bright, you got to be a service writer, right? And it was, you know, obviously all men,
Yeah.
right? And then there was a shift, like, oh, wait a minute, that's a sales position. right?
It is.
It's not, it's more than knowing a car. Let the techs know the car,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you got to know something about cars, but you got to know people.
It's less about the car, more about the people.
Right. Always has been. We just didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And then once you figure it out, then you figure out, wait a minute, females might be better to be put back there because who's bringing in the car?
Right.
Right? I mean, I don't know what the. Do you have any legit stats, any data on the percentage of women that bring in cars?
I don't, but I will tell you.
It's huge, though, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's big time. I would say that most of my clients on a daily basis are women. And we definitely have a lot of men. but
Right.
It's more often than not the woman bringing the car in.
Throughout this podcast, because I'm old, and I've been doing this 45 years. It'll be 46 years this July, God willing. I never did this. Seriously, I never did this. However, I do know firsthand. Actually, I've seen it done once. Service writers, used to carry a can of, it was called Crex. It was a engine oil additive. We charged 2/10 for labor, and it was literally open a can, put it in, right? And but they carry a squirt bottle in their back pocket, and they do a walk around in the car, right? And put a little oil, inside the rim or rear axle. Oh, come here. Looks like you have an oil leak. We're going to have to diagnose that. It's going to be a half hour, 5 tenths, a half hour. For real.
That's horrible.
For real.
That's why we're in the situation we're in the auto
No
industry.
question.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, I don't know, week and a half ago, and it's like, and we concluded, about a half hour we spent on stories of almost every single process that we did is today a federal offense.
Wow.
Every single process. When I first started selling cars, there was a button. We had the, handheld phones, right? Do those have buttons by then? No, I don't think they had buttons. I think it's still dial. But at any rate, there was a button on the side. When you'd leave the customer, you'd push the button on the side. That then made it an intercom system that was wired into a box into the sales manager's office. So when I left the customer, I'm sitting here with you and you're a customer and you're with a significant other sitting next to you and you're putting your game plan together, air quotes,
Right.
on what to say, what not to say. Hey, Erica, when he comes back, he's going to offer us, back then I'll use realistic numbers, $1,200 for our car. We're not going to take $1,200, but we'll take 15, but we're not taking 12, right? Well, we're in the manager's office listening to the entire conversation. Now, it's a horrible thing, right? It's
That is.
eavesdropping. It's wiretapping. Today it's illegal, and they pulled those out about 6 months after that. However, you know what the weird thing is?
What?
It taught me how to sell cars. Guys, this is live. I'll explain to you after I'm done here with this. Sorry, you know what this is about, right?
It's part of our story.
Yeah. Whoop. Yes. Hi, Jordan. How are you? Okay. Anyway, you can come in the building and grab the keys. I'm actually on air right now doing a podcast. It says all systems go HV. You see where my car's at? It's if you're standing at the ass end of my car and look straight ahead, it's all systems go AV's front door is about 10 feet to the right of my car. All right, and yes, sir. Yes. All right, and would you do me a favor? Would you have the guys from Keystone call me? I left a message for them. All right, and your name again? I'm sorry. Thanks, Jordan. Thank you so much. Do you need me for anything else? I don't have my card with me. Okay, man. All right. I appreciate you. Thanks. Jeez. Okay. I hope this is the first and the last. So, those of you that didn't catch this morning's situation, real long story short, I left, and I knew it the minute the words came out of my mouth. My assistant's been on a cruise. She's been out of the country for a week, and it's like I can barely function when she leaves. I mean, literally, I
Right.
barely function as a human being. So she stopped by this morning to make sure I was still alive. And I buy these old cars. I'm just an old car freak. I just love them. I've had a lot of them, and I buy old, cool cars. So this friend of mine, this is going to sound so stupid, but
Go with it.
so I have this dog that is like, there's my children, my grandchildren, my friends, and then my dog. My dog's like high up there. Actually, God, family, and then from there. But Dixie, my dog's in there. She's a miracle story. She almost died about 6 months ago, but that's a whole nother deal. But at any rate, I go out to this friend of mine's place. He's got this 1996 Jaguar Vandenplas with 68,000 miles on it. Been in this guy's garage for 5 years. He died. The typical, old, very cool car story. So this car is literally perfect. So Joanna comes over this morning. She opens the door. It was the first time she saw the car. And so, the reason I brought Dixie in, Dixie's got her own car. She's got this, I have this old Mercedes. So she won't drive in the Jaguar. She has to drive in the Mercedes, I swear. So I had to get a second car so I could drive because the Mercedes is always full of air. And I don't care, which is really weird because I'm a real neat freak. But at any rate, so Joanna comes over and she said, wow, this car really is clean. I said, it's perfect. And the minute the words came out of my mouth, I said, boy, I shouldn't have said that. And it hit me. It really did.
Oh, man.
So I'm leaving the house. I have to be here for 11 for the first podcast. It's an hour. It took me an hour and 7 minutes to get here last week for the 2 podcasts we did last week. I was like, I'm cool. I'm good. I'll be there way early, right? So I like to be here early and talk to the guests a little bit and just get everything set up, take the pictures that we spread throughout social media like we just did, saying we're going to be live soon and all that. I get up to through Philly, go over the bridge, the Ben Franklin, and 95 North is 4 lanes backed up. So whomever my navigation reroutes me takes me down to Penn's Landing, which if you guys had more time is really interesting. It's a cool part of Philly, but where you're going is very cool, cooler actually. And I mean, Naomi, there are potholes that are like lakes, and I'm hitting these things with this car. And I'm like, oh, no. And the only thing this car needed when I got it was 4 new tires. So I put Pirelli's on there. They're,
Yeah.
expensive. And 200 miles on these tires. I'm about 5 miles away from here, and I heard just a slight noise, and my car wasn't tracking quite right. And I'm like, oh, no, man, did I jinx this? I'm thinking rear end, rear differential. So, guy comes flying by me and starts pointing aggressively. I'm going, oh, flat tire? Are you kidding me? Pull over to the side of the road, check it out. Sure enough, it's flat.
It was bad.
Yeah, well, look, that's not the tire. That's the spare that you saw.
Come on.
I swear. So what happened was, so I text Ernie and Joe, say, look, here's what happened. Flat tire, calling AAA. I hit send. Mm-hmm. Ernie must have been 1,000 feet behind me driving in over here to the studio. So I look to the right, and there's Ernie standing outside my car, my partner and the general manager. I said, thank God. So I hang up from AAA. So Ernie, God bless him, changes the tire. I got a few orthopedic issues going on, so being a big baby, thank God he was there. Changing a tire on a 96 Jaguar is not that easy. He gets it done, jacking it down, and the tire's going down and down and down. So the spare's flat. So I drive the last 1.2 miles into this place, literally on a rim.
Yikes.
The tire, well, you saw it.
Yeah.
It's Swiss
rough.
cheese, man. It's done. The tire, literally, I was looking in the rearview mirror. I said, oh, there's my tire. See you, tire. So what's going to happen here, folks? I don't know how we're going to handle this, but thank God Naomi's a pro here, and we'll get through this. But and this is going to be fun today. I just got to get through some challenges. So they're AAA's outside grabbing my car right now to take over to a tire store who I have not talked to. I left a message for. And I got to figure out a way to get back to Atlantic City, New Jersey tonight. So we'll figure that out. So it should be interesting, but
It's going to be amazing.
part of the show, pal.
Yes.
So I'm sorry. So I interrupted you. So so you went from being a receptionist to a scheduler,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Just one more story for you from my service days, because I started in the service department. I started washing cars for a day, and I got fired. I'll tell you that story off air. But I ended up being what they used to call them service writers. Wonder when we changed to advisor.
I don't know. I've seen both.
Have you?
Yeah. At the last, the first place I was a service advisor, I was actually called an ASM, and we all were.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's different.
yeah, it's kind of a fib, but
It is.
yeah, I don't know. Probably makes customers look at you differently and more respectful. Maybe, I don't know. Is that the idea? No, it didn't work. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. So I either don't know what I'm talking about, which is highly likely, or it just didn't work. So don't do that, dealers. So in, what year was it? 72, I think, or 73. I was working at a dealership, and they sent me away for training. And they just came out with the manufacturer I work for, and I can't tell you why, because it's going to be part of the show called Fabulous Fibs, where you get to win something.
Ooh.
And I think that's one of the questions. I got to find it, but I think that's one of the questions. So at any rate, so I'm working at this dealership, and they send me to Chicago, and they were using we had a big desk log with each tech, and what did we have in there? 16 hours? It was either 12, 14, or 16 hours that we could plot out for each tech. And so someone would call in, we'd do a little diagnosis over the phone, and then we would pre-plot his work almost with a slide rule. And always overbook them. So, 40-hour a week, we'd book them for 50 hours,
Right.
or we had 2 master techs in this little shop. It was crazy. And these guys both had 2 bays. They were monsters. And so we'd book them for 55, 60 hours because, they were turning 60, 70 hours
Right.
every week. If we had to work, no problem. So, and I didn't know anybody doing scheduling like that back then. And it worked really well because, you're going to have a certain amount of people, make an appointment,
Sure.
cancel, not show, whatever. So it really worked out well. It was like overbooking airlines, but it just almost always seemed to work out at the end of the week. We were talking outside, and it was like I used to hate Fridays. It was like, I think I said to you, that's why I cashed my paycheck at a bar down the street because it was like, okay, Friday. Oh God, we didn't finish his car, didn't finish her car. Oh, and she told me she had something to do with the kids tomorrow, and their car's not going to be here, and she's going to yell, and I got to get out of here and
Yeah.
go to the bar. Here's my check. Do
It's
I get any
real
money
life.
back from last week? So, but at any rate, scheduling from that. When someone calls in now or makes an appointment online,
Yeah.
how are you figuring out the workflow for your techs? How are you doing that?
So for me, I have 3 technicians, and I've really gotten to know them well. Okay, so I know what they're capable of. I have a very unique situation. I have 2 master techs.
You personally do as a writer,
Yeah.
as an advisor.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then my 3rd tech, he's far from green, far from lube tech, but not quite to their level yet.
Right. B level or whatever. What's condo call him?
I would maybe even say C.
Right.
He has very young
Right.
and a ton of potential.
Good.
So I have a good solid team.
Yeah, I'd say.
I schedule pretty much the same every day, no matter what. I typically take 2 appointments at the top of the hour, another appointment half hour in, 2 appointments at the top of the hour, another halfway in.
Oh, that's interesting.
And what I do is if there is a big job that's going to carry over or whatnot, I'm just very, very sure to communicate well with my customer.
Right.
I don't overpromise ever.
How-
Give
how-
enough time.
What are you finding in terms of communication with the customer? Text, phone, email. What are you using primarily?
So a lot of trainings that I have been in say that the service clients prefer text. I don't feel that way with my clients, at least. Now, some of them do prefer email, but I feel like mostly I'm still doing the old school calling them,
Right.
But I'm just very sure to stay in touch with them throughout the day.
Right.
Always.
You have to.
Yeah, and it's not an issue.
Yeah, because that's all they're thinking about.
It is.
Like right now, I am. Luckily, it's you, because I got to force myself to think about this rather than the stupid car situation.
Right. It's your livelihood, right? It's
Exactly
very
right.
important.
So, and your customers like that every single day,
Correct.
right? Even more so. I mean, it's like they're screwed if you screw up.
Correct.
They're screwed.
So I know, like, if I have a gentleman that's going to be on a car for a good part of the day, right, and he's down,
Right.
then I'll lighten the load.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll just do one every half hour,
Gotcha.
But it works itself out. It's not really rocket science. As long as you have a good understanding of your team and what they're capable of doing, that's all it takes.
Technicians, lack of leaving the business, not being able to replace. We call it epic proportions. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really crazy. In your opinion, number one, not number one. 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons why techs are leaving. And I think master techs mostly. It has been at least our anecdotal data that master techs are leaving.
I think that the auto industry is failing them
Oh,
in a big
I agree.
way.
I agree.
I feel like there are service advisors out there that will take in a car that is going to need heavy diagnostic time and not accurately sell the amount of time that technician needs to feed his family,
Absolutely.
Like if I have a huge electrical problem that I know up front that's what it's going to be.
Yep.
I'm not going to say to that customer, we can find out what your problem is for $79.95.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm not going to do it.
No.
So I think that's a big
Couple
thing.
people lose there.
Yeah.
Customer and the tech.
Right.
And you.
And the service
store.
advisor,
Right. Right.
But I think if you're just committed to communication and develop that line clearly up front, it's not an issue. I feel like a lot of times maybe service advisors are scared to ask, for more time from the customer, more commitment from the customer. They don't know what they're going to think, don't know what they're going to say.
Right.
But it's really just about being transparent and honest.
Right.
And the quicker you do it,
Right.
like you move on. You just rip those conversations off like a Band-Aid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
I'm not going to be able to figure out your vehicle in an hour. I'm not going to do it.
Right. Yeah. So, and I agree 100%. Because if I'm running a service department right now, I'm an advisor or whatever, and you have the customer come in and says, look, I got this weird noise, and it's in the rear left. It only happens on Thursday nights when it's raining on odd days.
Correct.
Right? Could you guys check it out? Right. So that's really abnormal, right? Made up, but abnormal. So who am I going to call over?
Right.
The best guy in the shop.
Correct.
Right? And the best guy in the shop's making $40 an hour, right? And he's got to turn, Richmond, 30, 33, 34, right? Am I close?
Yeah.
In that area. And pay him 3/10 to go drive this car.
Not doing it.
Right? I mean, because he'd be turning me 60 hours at whatever the door rate is. What is your store? 100 and a half or whatever?
120.
120. So he could be turning, what is the math on that? $7,000 a week.
Right.
And I got him horsing around with a noise that on left turns Thursday nights when it's raining on odd days. I'm like, come on.
Right.
And we have to fix that problem, man.
We do. And a lot of that also comes back to scheduling.
Yeah, right.
So those kind of complaints happen all the time. They do.
Right.
And or the customer says, I don't know what the sound is, or they can't describe it to you at all.
Right.
Or they don't know when it happens, right?
Right.
So those clients, Sometimes they're going to have to come in
Yep.
while they're waiting, and it's not the best case scenario.
Right.
But if 9 times out of 10 you're able to get them to follow your direction, it'll work out better. Because I'm going to say, this sounds like it's a job where we need to arrange for you to drop off overnight.
You're right.
You know, especially the noise first thing in the morning.
That's right.
I need that first crank first thing in the morning.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and if the guys don't have a service advisor that's setting them up for success,
Right.
then that is going to be very frustrating over time.
That's right. And that causes the heat with the client anyway,
Absolutely.
right? Right.
Absolutely.
Would you say these are all, I really want to get into, and I don't know how familiar you are with my history or past with women in automotive, but I was honored to be at the first conference, there was only 2 men speakers there, and I was one of them. So I've been like in it from the beginning.
Right.
For a lot of different reasons that we can get into in terms of recruitment. I mean, it's a pet peeve of mine. But would you say, this is a loaded question,
Okay.
but then I'll ask a follow-up question that'll unload it. So would you say as a woman that you have a certain advantage in the service department, in your current position, that would, now I'm going to put some real broad statements in here. So I think just biologically and with the way God made us, I think women are more nurturing by nature, more willing to help, reach out, go the extra mile, blah, 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 blah. All the psychology and social stuff. Would you, broad stroke, agree with that statement?
Yes.
Right. So I would think then it would make it not easier, but more in your nature, a woman's nature, to be able to handle those situations in a better way, which would give the customer a better experience overall, generally speaking.
I would agree with that. And I work with some great men
Right.
service advisors.
Yes.
But, but yes.
Right. So the question is, out of 100, and I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm going to take a guess. Out of 100 service advisors, you go up and down your street. There's other stores on your street, I'm assuming.
There are. Yes.
Right? It's dealers or bro everywhere, right?
Right.
And if there's 100 advisors, I'll bet there's no more than, I think 20% would probably be a push, would be impressive, are female. What would you guess?
I
Am
don't know
off?
about the other stores. So right where I am, there are 4 from my dealer group, CMA.
Right.
And I think most of the service advisors are female.
Most of the advisors are female. Awesome.
There-
Is that
there's been,
intentional? Are those intentional hires?
I
You know what I mean?
I know that Liza welcomes women for sure. I don't think that we've,
We'll say that again. Say what you just said again. Repeat what you just
Liza
said.
welcomes female.
Liza.
Yeah.
Liza is
Yeah. Female. Yeah.
Right.
It's been a great, up until recently, we had, in my service department, we have 5 writers. Right now, 3 of us are female and 2 are male. It was 4 female and 1 male.
Right.
It's a very unique
Right.
experience.
Well, here's the thing. And here's the whole key to the whole messy, stupid situation.
Mm-hmm.
Women, men, people of color, whatever, have got to be able to see a career path.
True.
So when you have a leader, an executive leader, dealer principal in this particular case, that's female, right? Insert a blank, whatever, diverse situation you want to talk about. That gives a person like you the opportunity to see that career path, and that's what's missing in the car business. There's plenty of women. Let me just throw out some broad stroke stats here, because we get about 400,000 resumes a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we do. Last month we were in 140 dealerships recruiting in the United States, so it's pretty broad.
Right.
It's the data is pretty accurate. Excuse me. 53% of our resumes are female. 53%.
Wow.
Over 200 and some thousand resumes from females to get into the car business, sell cars. But we recruit for everything. So, I wish are you familiar with the name Patricia Banks?
No.
She's becoming kind of famous. She's got a shop here in Philly, and she's on. Check her out. Connect with her on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we'll do.
I'm trying to get on the show, and I talked to her PR person, and we're trying to work out dates and so forth. She's actually not doing any press right now at all, but she's like a big deal. So you get me 100 female technicians, I get them placed in 24 hours, like bang, like right now. But I think what's happening, excuse me, is that we so desperately need, so 53% of our applicants are female. Yet, at the end of a recruiting campaign, only 19% of the people that are getting hired are female. Now, that's double national average. So it's like, and I spoke at the first conference at Women Automotive, and a lady got pissed at me in the audience. Well, that's not a very good job. I said, what? I said, okay. It's double the national average.
Right.
So, like, I'm doing my part. What are you doing?
It's like, what is the national average?
8%, 9% in sales.
So what do you contribute that to? Like, I'm asking you the questions.
And I got an answer. Well, she's a lawsuit looking to happen. Mm-hmm. She's too hot. Nah, I can't control my animals.
Right.
Ain't gonna happen. Can't. Now you get me a handsome. This is real. A handsome mid-40s realtor looking type woman. Okay, well I'm good with that. Okay, well that's cool. You gonna let her work real estate hours? What are you gonna do? Well, no, she got to work bell to bell. She got to work like the guys. Okay, well, all right, that's cool. But so you're not going to hire this woman because she's too attractive. But she has to be attractive enough. How about this woman? Oh no, she's too. And they'll pick up some other body part. This is real world.
Right. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, it's ridiculous, and and people, and I'm not. I don't consider myself a feminist. Sometimes, in my opinion, this is getting a little deep. In my opinion, I think a lot of guys take positions on women in the car business for ulterior motives, frankly. I really think they do. You can let your mind wander on ulterior motives all you want.
I'd say you're correct.
For me, it's a math equation. It's stupid. If I have 100 people standing in a row, 50 are women, 50 are men, and I have a need for whatever amount, I don't care if it's 2 people or 98 people, for me to say to the women that are standing on, I'm facing them and they're standing on the right, okay, you 50 can leave now. So now I'm picking those 2 from, instead of 100, I'm picking those 2 from 50. Right. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that that's bad math. That's stupid. And when 89% of the buying decisions are made of female in a relationship, whether it be a female-female relationship, a female-male relationship, a female-only relationship, whatever, doesn't matter. 89% of those decisions are being made by female. I got to have like buy from like. It's insane. It's aggravating.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy. It makes my whole company crazy. At the beginning of the year, I pulled back on it once I thought it over, but I was going to pay a bonus on whoever placed the most women and veterans, women and military veterans for the year. And I thought, the more I thought about it, and I put it out there at our national conference, but I had to pull it back because that kind of competition doesn't breed good stuff. So I pulled it back. I'm going to come up with something different, but that's how intentional we are in getting women hired. But it's not from it's from math equations. NADA says that females outsell their male counterparts by nearly 22 vehicles a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Less than 9% are female. what sense does that make?
Well, I think it really just shows where we need to take the industry, and that is to improve the culture in every dealer front.
There's
You know,
there's no question
we
about it.
have to. I'm a huge advocate of if you can have a healthy employee, right? If you can invest in your employee to make sure that they're healthy mentally, that they have emotional intelligence, physically, spiritually, whatever that looks like for them, then you have a productive employee.
Right.
And that needs to go all the way to the top.
Right.
It has to.
And it starts at the top, Naomi, right?
Yeah, it does.
Right. Because that's that person's intention.
Right.
It changes everything.
Absolutely.
Because he or she is going to surround themselves with like people. And so, I mean, if we're getting it from and here, let me disclaim this a little bit. I'm not talking about, and we're not talking about every dealer.
No.
And when I say we hear back from a GM or a sales manager or whomever, we'd never heard from HR, of course. But if we hear somebody say, no, we can't hire her, she's too hot, or she's a lawsuit looking to happen, those are words that have been said to us. Those are true statements. I'm talking about a small percentage. It is getting better. In my opinion, in even saying what we've been saying thus far, I think there's been no better time, and I've been in it 45 years, no better time to be in the automobile industry than right now. Male, female, black, white, doesn't matter.
Right.
Ethnic background, religious background, doesn't matter. Right now is the best time to ever be in the automobile business, getting nothing but better. However, we're not even close.
No.
What's possible is amazing, and it really starts with leadership. And we're going to find a way to get bright, clear-thinking people of good character like you into executive roles in dealerships.
Right.
Because then that receptionist that you were at the body shop that became a scheduler, that became an advisor, now has a clear path, a career path, rather, of saying, wow, Naomi's my hero. I want to be her. Because I was a barista at a coffee shop, making
Right.
tips and junk and having people yell at me because I screwed up their whatever all that long form latte thing is. I don't drink that stuff, but she can do it, and she's from Richmond, Virginia, and
Absolutely. And it has to start at the top. So,
Right.
we said earlier that I've been doing this for roughly 7 years. So that's, for me, it feels like a lot longer. But
you're a baby. That's a baby. 7 years is nothing, man.
I know. I hear you. I hear you say how long you've been in it.
Yeah. Well, look, that should be exciting for you.
It is very exciting. And let me tell you why. It hasn't been until the last year and 4 months that I found a dealer group that is doing it right. So from the top, they invest in their employees. CMA is an ESOP company. That is huge. I have retirement with the dealer group that I'm with. They invest in lots of training for us, lots of support. And to take it to a personal level, they care a lot about what's going on in your life. Like when Liza or Carter come down from Charlottesville and visit our stores on a regular basis, they come to our desks and say hello, and they call us by name. And, we have relationships with them. We're not just a number. And it's going to take more dealer groups being like that, because what's happened to me in the last year and 4 months is I've realized that I have a much bigger purpose in our auto industry. And I'm thankful for the path, but I can see that long term, like I'm going to do bigger things for CMA, through CMA for our auto industry. And
Such as, go further.
it's not going to be sitting, I don't want to be a service manager or sales manager or anything like that. But on the broader spectrum of in our area, finding the people, both men and women, to have and establish careers. Like I'm always looking for people who are servers at restaurants or work at gas stations who can handle multitasking and still have a smile on their face, right? They're not taking stress out on the consumer. Because if they can do that, that's all you need.
That's right.
To work in the dealership. So last night, Erica and I went to a restaurant, and the server, she was so sweet. She was bubbly. She had a smile on her face. She was multitasking.
You sure you were in Philadelphia?
I was.
No, oh my God.
But she did all the things, right? And so when it was time for us to leave, I grabbed a napkin and I wrote her a note. I was like, I've spent my entire life in food service and retail. I want to let you know that you have everything that it takes to be much more and to have a career. And if you want one, I have plenty of connections in Philadelphia that can help you do that. And I gave her my contact information, and then we tipped her the bill because she deserves more for her life than what she's doing. And she needs someone to tell her that.
Right. And she gave more.
She did.
So, wow, she got more.
Yeah,
Awesome.
she did. And, we did the tip thing because it was quiet. There was like no one in there,
Yeah.
and she knew we weren't from here. So I was like, I know people here who can help you. So just message me because you can do this.
Good on you.
And good on all of us to start doing things like that.
Right.
Anytime you're in a gas station and you see someone can you imagine doing that job?
No.
You have a line of like angry people, especially at a truck gas station.
No.
If they can do that job efficiently
With a smile.
on their face, then they deserve to come join us and be in the auto industry.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's a good way to look for people.
They do. I'm always looking for people that way.
Yeah. It's good. That's a good trait.
You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know I would ever work in the auto industry. In fact, I never thought I'd make more than $30,000 a year.
Why is that?
I had no degree.
Right.
I had left Lowe's and was working for Starbucks. Like, what was I going to do with my life?
Right.
Suffer and try to get a second job for the rest of my life and not have
College,
retirement?
no.
I went and I never finished. But here I am.
Yep.
Establishing a career.
Yes.
And I'm happy in life.
Right.
Somewhere I never thought I'd be.
What'd your folks do for a living?
My mom is now retired. She was a medical assistant. My dad, he's like my hero. Him and my mom grew up in the projects in a town where I live in now.
Okay.
And they didn't have anything growing up. And they both have, several siblings each. And they met each other when they were 14. And they've been together ever since.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they got married when they were 18, had me when they were 19. And so we've kind of grown up together. So my dad was working, he was like a forklift driver for a distribution company, things like that. And he ended up working his way into management. And he was a manager at Food Line Distribution Center out where we lived. And eventually he's like, I think I'm going to go back to college. He went back to college and he got his associate's degree. And then he went back to college and got his bachelor's. And then he got his master's. And now he's like this really important person in a company called CHEP USA. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
You've seen the big heavy pallets that are spray painted blue
Yes.
on the sides?
Yes.
That's the company. They're a global company. And he works in operations for them. And he works with opening up facilities and doing contracts, and he's in charge of a large area on the eastern coast.
Well, there's a good person to model.
Yeah,
Right.
Like he's like my hero.
Right.
Persistence, determination, and where you start it doesn't define where you go.
Right. Say that again.
Where you start it doesn't define where you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I've been able to just see it all unfold.
Right. And Zig Ziglar said, in order for you to get what you want, you have to help others get what they want. So your dad has given you something.
Yes.
Right? That now for you to be able to allow other people to model themselves after you, because you're modeling yourself after a success story,
Right.
which is very important to you.
Right.
So now you can pay forward that same sort of thing to other people. And I would think, and it's not a broad jump. I mean, you're into the women in automotive movement, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're all for it. At the end of the day, it doesn't. However you get there, men, women, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you want to make your dealership money and and make yourself a good living and so forth as well. But I think it is good to get to whatever depth you feel comfortable with to be a leader for women
Right.
getting into automotive, because it's just needed. It's just. And have you ever been to one of their conferences yet?
I haven't. I would love to go to the one coming up.
Got to go.
Yeah.
Where's it? Orlando? Yeah.
Orlando, yes.
Let me see if I can get you hooked up somehow, because I know those folks pretty good. They're pretty cool.
I met a lot of them at the Hustle and Grind conference.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're
Have you met Lisa?
amazing. They're amazing. Yes.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to her a lot. She's
Lisa
cool.
Copeland.
Yeah.
Talked to her this morning on the phone.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I reached out to her a couple weeks ago because I just have a lot of vision for where I see my life in the auto industry, and I wanted to bounce some, ideas off of her, and she's a great person to do it.
She is. For those of you that really don't know, it sounds like, it's like, okay, well, she's talked to some chick on the phone. So what? Right. Well, this chick is almost impossible to talk to. If I'm lucky, I get to talk to her once or twice a week. Lucky, or a quick text.
Mm-hmm.
That's meaningful. And what
Yeah.
that says is that shows you the level of commitment that it takes to get to where she's at and going. Because she's not even.
No.
I mean,
She's not
David
done.
Goggins talks about 40% rule. Like it's like he thinks he's given 100. He's given 40%,
Mm-hmm.
and she's probably only at 40%. What's happening with her is like going to be monumental. In my opinion, people are going to talk about Lisa Copeland for 100 years going forward in the car business because she took a call from a service advisor. No disrespect.
No, I get
from Richmond, Virginia.
Right. Well, and not just so we had scheduled 2 calls previously,
Right.
but we weren't able to keep the commitments. And
Right.
she had told
That
me
sounds
yesterday.
right.
Yesterday, I was in. We went to the museum here that has all the crazy, weird medical stuff in it. The Muter Museum or something like that.
No, man, you've seen more stuff. You guys were talking in the car about, I was watching one of your lives talking about the Liberty Bell. I said, I haven't seen the Liberty Bell.
I
So I live
if
an
I'm
hour
coming
from
up
here.
here, we'll sleep when we die.
That's
We will
awesome, man.
Yeah. But so she messaged me yesterday when I was in there, and she was like, "Can you can you talk tomorrow after my show?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And I'm not going to tell Lisa Copeland no.
Yeah. Oh, let me see if I fit you in, Lisa.
I don't care where I'm at. Yes, ma'am. So right after her show, she sent me a message. She said, "Call me." I was like, "Okay."
That's
Yes, ma'am.
awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
I look up to her a lot because of where she's paved the way for so many of us.
Right. I mean, she started, selling cars. It's not like anybody gave her anything. She was working at the mall selling, what the heck was she selling? Jeans or purses or shoes or some, whatever.
You know what's wild for me too is that before all of this, I came to this dealership, and before I found out about women in automotive or anything, I've never ever been on the feminist movement.
Right. Right.
I'm a believer. I believe in submission, the nasty word. I believe in being submissive to your husband.
Yeah.
I believe in that stuff, and
Boy,
I think
we're going to get some YouTube comments. I can't wait for the emails of YouTube comments on that one.
I believe there's a good balance to have in everything. So I've never really been on that movement because I feel like it's always been too far one way, right? But with women in the auto industry, I really feel a strong urge to get them in there, not just because we need them and not just because our consumers need them, but they need to know what they're capable of doing.
Yes.
I didn't know when I was making a cappuccino that I was capable of making such an impact on people's lives.
Right.
Our new theme with CMA is we're moving lives forward, and that's what we're doing.
Moving lives forward.
Yeah.
That's what an automotive dealer group's mission statement is. core
Yeah,
compass?
yeah. Well, it was owners just do more, and this year we changed it, and Liza did some brainstorming and moving lives forward because that's what we do. Because even if you own a home, how do you keep the home? You have to have a car to commute to work. You have to have a car to go see your family, to go on functions, to have memories. So we're helping you move your life forward.
Oddly enough, we've never done business with them. We have to do business. I want to do business with a
dealer
company
group.
like that.
Part 2 of our story, I think.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
It's okay.
Hold on there, folks. You get to do this with me live. Hello. Hi, Chuck. Thanks so much for calling me. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a mess, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. And we can put. I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Can we put it on the rim that's in the trunk? Because the rim that's on the car is destroyed, is it not? Or what's your opinion? Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's the rim. See what happened was that the what's left of the tire on that rim, that's actually the spare tire. So the original tire that's in the trunk went flat, changed it, and I didn't. Go ahead. All right, awesome. It's Lockerd. This has never been done on a podcast.
Until now.
Oh, you're awesome, man. You're awesome. I'm actually doing a podcast right now, a national podcast. So we're actually live, and the name of your place is Keystone Discount Tire Center in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. All right, so I am actually live, folks. You want to see? And your name is Chuck, right? You guys want to see Chuck at Keystone Discount Tire in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, because they are awesome. Chuck, thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it, sir. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, here is a real life example, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, hopefully, you remember what we were talking about. But,
I do.
okay.
I'm good.
Good. All right. Because I don't. Because I'm old. So, and I've had way too much 5-hour energy drink today because of today. So, at any rate, so here's what happened. So, I called AAA. I don't have my AAA number. I don't have my AAA card. I'm in a studio. The guy calls me, comes in, doesn't see me. I could be any, right?
Right.
Who could I be?
Right.
He's picking up a 20-some-year-old Jaguar that's sitting on aluminum out in a parking lot. Mm-hmm. He's going to take it to a discount tire store that I left a phone message for. I couldn't talk to them. I left him a phone message, told him part of the story. He drops off my car there. He calls me. I don't know what kind of tire I'm getting for $99. That scares me a little bit. Huh?
It'll get you home.
Yeah, it'll get me home. That's right. It doesn't have he doesn't have my credit card information. It's like, who's this guy? Is he going to pay me? It's like,
right.
It's so weird because they're not a affiliate, so I don't get any discount. So I mean, everything's doing. It's like Hebrews 11:1, right? In faith, being certain of what you hope for and sure of things, being sure of what we hope for and certain of things we cannot see. It's like just everybody's having faith today, pal. It's like, but that's kind of cool. But that's good service, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Help the customer.
Right. So
Doesn't
I'm like,
matter what's going on.
I'm good. He said, you're good in a half hour. So,
Wow.
all right, leave. I got to go get my car. No, I'm like,
Nice.
do not leave. You're too interesting. Well, this one's going to go on for a while. I got a feeling. I think we've already been here for an hour. That
What?
can't be. It's. I'm telling you, it's a time warp in here. There is something that happens.
Something happens.
We keep trying to say, it's like, it's in the podcasting world. There is. I've done way too many. I know way too much about this stuff where it's dangerous. There are 550,000 podcasts, registered podcasts in the United States of America right now.
Wow.
Right? That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But that's like some guy in his living room talking about whatever, like some weird stuff to some important stuff. To guys like Joe Rogan, who has 5 million people watch his podcast. But here's something interesting. Anthony Alagona, who was in here before you. Did you get a chance to meet Anthony?
I did.
Okay. He's
Yeah.
awesome guy, man.
Yeah.
You
I follow him.
oh, do you?
I do.
Okay. He's a really good person. He's got a very interesting life. He's a good person to kind of stay in contact with. He said something about writing a book. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody's written a book. So I've written a book. Some of the book things are scams.
Yeah.
You pay, and they send you you're actually buying a box of books, and you get 4, 5, 6, 10 people involved as co-authors, and you go through this. I won't name them, but there's a lot of companies out there that do this, and it's a PR move. It's a Google thing. You Google my name, you Google the unfair advantage, you'll see that I'm a best-selling author. But it's a ruse. It's like,
Wow.
right, you get 10 people buying 100 books, and they put it on Amazon, 3 or 4 different categories, your bestseller. And all that's legit.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. Now, somebody like Lisa, she's got a legit book deal, like Barnes and Noble,
Right.
legit books. There's a big difference, but there's 2 million books written per year.
What?
Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but I read a lot. So
Yeah.
I got, again, I'm basically a 67-year-old chimp in a man's body, but so I know just a little bit. I know a lot of information about a little information about a lot of stuff. But I have a stack of books, and for those of you on iTunes and so forth, probably let's see, men lie about stuff like this. So I don't know. That's about a foot. So worth of books. And Troy was here last week, and he gave me The Art of War. It's like I've never read The Art of War, so I got to read that.
I love reading.
Me too, man.
I'm building a library in my house. So far, I have one wall completely covered.
I have a pretty good collection.
I can't go digital. I like the book.
What book by tape?
Well, I do listen to some audio stuff, right? But most of the time, like if I listen to a book on audio, I'm gonna go buy the book.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta have it.
There's a good, and I'm drawing a blank, which was really not surprising, but and I forget the name of it, but it's the Bible on tape.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it's read, and it's word for word.
Mm-hmm.
They're not screwing with the translation any more than it's been screwed with.
Right.
But it's really good. And there's been a couple, that I've liked books on tape, but I agree with you. It does. I think it just stays in your head more, or you lose yourself in the adventure of actually reading, or something.
There's almost an art to it. I don't
Could
know.
be.
I like having a book. You know what? I like highlighting things
Yeah,
and writing
you're a
notes and
highlighter.
things. I am.
You're such a girl.
Shut up. It's just what it is.
So, I'm going to recommend something to you.
Okay.
An author.
Got it.
That was introduced to me. I'm a recovering alcoholic by the grace of God, and hopefully I don't do anything wrong tonight because I can handle this day. Tomorrow, I'll figure out not drinking tomorrow. But through a fellowship and a program that I've been involved with, it'll be 26 years this June 10th. A gentleman, there was a mentor to me. They're called sponsors in this group that I'm a part of. Suggested I pick up a book by a guy by the name of O.G. Mandino, Mandino. In the first book I picked up was his autobiography called A Better Way to Live. And at the end of the book, and at the end of a couple of his books, one is called The Greatest Salesman in the World, and at the end of the book he has what's called scrolls. They're things that you do for 30 days, develop a habit, blah, blah, blah. In the book A Better Way to Live, we have a call we have to take. Nick.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great, man. I'm actually kind of excited. I'm watching the podcast, and it looks like I've already run off Joe and Ernie.
Right, yeah.
So.
They decided they just couldn't handle you anymore. So yeah, I guess I think it's a little unfair that you're trying to destroy a brand new show like this about trying to help the car business. But whatever. It's I'm still here.
What's unfair is you trying to destroy my car business.
Right.
So yeah. So, but I ran them off like a couple of green peas between paydays, man. That was pretty easy, actually.
Yeah. Well, they're more weak-minded than I am, pal. I'm going to stick. So, what do you think about me having a? What do you think about me having a girl that's works in a service department on the show? What do you think about that?
Actually, I think that's awesome. And the first thing I wanted to say is, do you know who Naomi reminds me of?
No, who?
She reminds me of my fifth wife.
Your fifth flip. Yeah, yeah, Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, so have you moved on from five, or was she like somewhere, or was that the end of it?
No. Well,
No.
I've only had 4.
Oh, gotcha. I see. So did you just flirt with my guest?
I wouldn't call it that. Anyway, I wanted to say, I think it's cool that you have a young lady from the service department in there on your show,
Right,
and because it reminded me, I actually dated a service advisor, female service advisor, many years ago,
right.
and it was a really good relationship because she was actually putting the repair bills for my car onto stock numbers in the used car.
Oh my God.
I did
Wow.
that.
So
Right,
that was a great arrangement.
right.
But then what I found out was after a while, she was putting other guys' service bills on used cars too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So I ended up ratting her out.
Right. That a boy. Yeah, it's a good idea to go ahead and get her fired for doing something illegal for you, but when you found out she was doing it for all the other guys, so that led you to believe that you were not exclusive, I guess, right? Basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, it's not like I don't have regrets.
Right.
I do, because, I mean, seriously, the one big regret I have in that is that I didn't have her rebuild the engine on my Eagle Vision back then.
Eagle Vision.
Before I ratted her out, I got that motor rebuilt first.
Yeah, that had to cost you $200 or $300.
You know what? That's not even right. That was a great car.
Right. Yeah.
No, I let the bank have it back because I'm not going to pay for, I'm not going to pay for a car that don't run.
Of course.
Bank,
Well, they're understanding when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure that happens a lot. Somebody just doesn't like the car, it doesn't perform, just let the bank take it back. Shoot. There's other ways to rebuild your credit, right?
Yep. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's other ways. For sure.
Right.
You know.
So what do you think?
Girl,
Your experience with women in automotive. No, wait a minute. I don't want to phrase that question that way with you. That's too dangerous. What? Now you being around for a while, you've worked in predominantly or 100% dominated male sales departments and so forth, right? Have you worked with women in sales before?
Yeah, I have. I always thought that the funnest thing was you'd have one female on the showroom floor, and as soon as we hired another one, it was like there was a cat fight for territory.
Right, cat fights among women that should be a pay per view event, right? Yeah. But I got
to see it for free. So.
Right. Well, us being guys, we get to see stuff like that. That's kind of what women are for, right? In the car business.
I know you're trying to trap me. I can feel it.
I am.
You're trying to trap me, and that ain't right.
You're trying to get my show kicked off the air. It sounds like even Steven.
I'm just trying to get you to stop taking this great business away from guys like me.
Right.
And so now Naomi is a service advisor, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, she is. Well, I have advice for the advisor, and my advice is get out of that studio, run, don't walk.
Thank you.
Get out of there as quick as you can. Joe and Ernie have already left. Just go ahead, bail.
She's going to be with me about another hour, and then she's leaving.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, I'll be praying for you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prayers are coming back. She's a believer there, Nick. Hey, so I tell you one thing, though, that should brighten your day. We're going to be off for about 10 days before we do another podcast. So, but then we got a whole bunch of them lined up. So, but we're going to be off for about 10 days.
Yeah. So that gives me 10 days to just derail this whole thing.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could start a movement.
Yeah, well, we did. You think that flat tire was just an accident?
Oh. You know what? I didn't even consider that, man. Okay.
Yeah, I told you. I got friends in low places, Craig.
Okay. All right. All right. Now I got you. I know where we're at now. Okay. I know where we're at now.
You're going to want Elon Musk to fly you in SpaceX from now on to get you to and from.
If I could get Elon Musk on the show, would you be a fan?
I would listen to that one. I would probably call and give that guy a piece of my mind.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't leave very much, so you want to be careful there. So, I didn't think, I can't believe I said that out loud, Nick. I'm sorry. I apologize. I think you're a swell guy, regardless of what you're trying to do to the show. I think you're a swell guy. And you can call in anytime, pal.
No, I know. You've let me, and that's been cool.
All right, pal.
And my 17 Twitter followers and my 111 friends on Facebook, they're all joining me against you. So.
All right. Just and have them, tell them they're free to comment or what have you. I'm up for it. If I can look to improve the show, I'm all for it. Wherever the advice might come from.
Very good. All right. Well, yeah. Okay, I got some ideas on that. I'll work on that for you.
All right, my friend.
But not for free, Craig.
Nah, I'm willing to pay. I sent you. Joanna sent 50. You asked for $50 earlier today. It's already in the mail.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's just still payday though.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, payday. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Peace, my friend.
All right. Naomi, run.
Okay, and that's
Wow.
that's Nick the car guy. Nick likes to call in.
It's very interesting.
Nick's an interesting guy.
Very interesting.
Yeah, he's in Alaska.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
God, I could never do that.
He
I
sells.
hate being cold.
Me too, man. In dark for whatever 6 months or whatever crazy thing it is. What's the name of it? If you Google lot damage, you pull up some of his videos, you'll get it. Lot damage.
Okay.
LOT damage. Yeah, Google will have it. YouTube will have it for sure. If you type in lot damage.
Google's the term now. If you Google, you remember when Google first came out? Or YouTube? I remember my friend telling me, hey, there's this website where you can like post videos of just you talking. And people are calling it vlogging.
Right, vlogging.
And I was like, no one's going to watch that crap.
You know what? I've never heard, I haven't heard hardly anybody call, I have a thing. I think it's on our YouTube channel. I did about 10 or 15 vlogs. They had those, what were those called? It was a white camera with a jack that you put into your computer. It was pre-video phones. And everyone used them for about a year, and they were obsolete.
Like webcams? Like the little round ones that you would use with your computer?
No, it was handheld.
Oh.
And it had a USB. So when you're done filming, put the USB and
That's
download
funny.
into your computer. Right? It was a thing for about a year, and I did 12 vlogs.
Right.
And I thought and I was an early adapter. Actually, Jim Ziegler turned me on to it. What were those called? Something cams.
Do you still have those videos?
Oh yeah, they're on our YouTube channel. They're pretty hilarious.
I bet.
Oh, they're pretty hilarious. How about those kids? Do you have young kids around you in your family? Brothers,
I have
sisters?
a niece that's 4. And
Oh well, then perfect.
and another one that's like 6 months.
Does your the 4-year-old, does she know who Ryan is? The Filipino family that opens toys and plays with toys and everything
I don't know.
on YouTube.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Kid made $11 million last year.
What? Opening
YouTube.
Opening toys.
And playing with them. $11 million from YouTube. Because there's a lot of different criteria where you start getting monetized by YouTube. Number of subscribers, hours watched, subscribers, hours watched, views, blah, 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 blah. There's a big, long algorithm that and there's people making ridiculous money that are complete knuckleheads. Have you ever do you watch any podcasts at all?
I do watch some. I'm very random at it though. I have the attention span of a gnat.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much like how it is.
That's cool. It's art. Yeah, long form's tough because I watch nothing but mostly long form stuff. I'll give you some, and if you want them later, if you're really into psychology.
I am. That's what I went to school for originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, and this gentleman, his name's Dr. Jordan Peterson. He got famous. He was a professor at the University of Toronto. And 2 years ago, maybe, Canada tried to push through legislation where you had to address personal pronouns. So if someone wanted to be gender pronouns. So if someone wanted to be addressed as they or your or I guess there are 29 of them depending on the state and so forth. But in Canada, I think there was 20 some, and so it was on the ballot. And he said, in Canada they don't have free speech. It's not like it's not like it's the First Amendment here. So it's like it's like they don't have that there. They have an understanding of free speech. But he became famous by saying, "No, I'm not voting for that. The government's not going to legislate how I address another person. I'll be respectful of that person. You can be whatever you want. That's up to you. That's between you and whomever. But you can't legislate me into calling you something."
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So he went on tour, and he's a clinical psychologist by trade, but he speaks about the Bible a lot. It's hard to figure out if he's never saying full blown that he believes in the resurrection. I've never heard him say that. Now, he may have. I've never heard him say that. But he's spoken at Liberty University, which is a big Christian college, and so forth, and he speaks on a lot of college campuses. But I think you'd really enjoy his take on men and women, based on what you said before about the S word.
Oh, yes, submission. I'll go ahead and say it.
Right.
Submission.
Right.
I went to Liberty for a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
No
I was
kidding.
there for a year.
That place seems cool.
It's like grown so much since I've been there.
Yeah.
I was there in 2003.
Well, when you get a chance, just Google Jordan Peterson, Liberty College.
Okay.
And he speaks, I think he's spoken there twice. And there's a kid rushes the stage. And they didn't know how to handle it. They didn't know what was going on. But this kid was a real mess. And he was either a graduate. He wasn't going to school there at the time. But they took him, they held him, they prayed with him. It was kind of a cool moment and it was out of nowhere. It was pretty neat. But Jordan Peterson's very cool. But I'm random like you. Do you know who Russell Brand is?
Sounds really
English
familiar.
actor.
Yes.
He was in, he's crazy man.
Yes.
Right. And he's completely changed his life around. But he has a podcast that's pretty interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's really crazy smart.
I like crazy smart people.
Me too. And Joe Rogan.
I like his stuff.
I've watched way too much Joe Rogan.
It's hard for me to get through an entire, long.
This morning,
in one setting.
Yeah, it is tough. This morning, I just finished up, based on what you just said, I finished up watching, he did one a couple months ago with Dr. Phil, who I find just a real interesting, kind of laid-back character. And that was good. I've watched, 100 Joe Rogan podcasts. And I don't know that we've, I got the salt lamp, so.
You do have the salt lamp.
Right, he has that, so we're exactly like Joe Rogan, minus 5 million subscribers.
Seen a salt lamp today in the store.
That's a Himalayan salt lamp.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be soothing. Do you feel soothed?
I do.
There you go. What the heck we were talking about before Brad called?
Before Brad called, we were talking about moving lives forward. No, that was before the car guy called.
Was it about?
We're talking about the responsibility that dealerships need to like own up to change our industry. It has to come from the top.
Yeah.
And how I've been like a living example of that.
What do you want to do next? I mean, you've danced around it a little bit. So, service advisor is not your. That's not, and not that they're. I mean, being a service advisor, you make a boatload of dough. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I know you agree with this. We spend so much of our time in dealerships. Now, there's not nearly enough money spent on training or development, personal development, job development, or anything else. It's just not enough. But what little there is typically spent for salespeople, right? Where there's 76% turnover.
Yeah, I mean, at the other places I've been at, that's true. Not where I'm at now. We get a lot of training and service.
God, man.
I work for a good company, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
I really do.
Yeah. We got to talk about that later.
Yeah.
This is some mind blowing stuff. But when you really think about it, an automobile salesperson, one that's, well, let's talk about an average one. Okay. Basically, they're going to talk to 2.5 opportunities a day. Okay. So face to face, or, and maybe it's 3. Let's call it 3. And they're working a 5-day week. That's 15 a week.
I feel like I'm going to start talking with my hands a lot, so I'm going to take this bracelet off.
Yeah. Do whatever you want. So, and as an advisor, we were talking outside before the podcast started, and you said you're writing 30 orders
20 to 30.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's different all the time, but I would say all of us in the lane where I work do about that.
And there's
5 of us.
5 of us.
I mean, we typically schedule about 80 to 120 between scheduled and walk-ins. That's normal.
So it's 100 cars.
Yes.
And you're at 1.4 hours.
Yeah.
Right? That's 1,100 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Times the door rate of how much? 120 an hour?
Yeah, 120, yeah.
Right. So you're doing 100,000 a week in gross, or $150,000 a week. And like at most dealerships, it's all about the salesman that is talking to 15 customers a week, and you guys are talking to 1,100. It's like, it makes no sense. It's like, there's going to be a correction. We, AutoMax, not bragging, this is the best first quarter we've had in 21 years. We've been around 21 years, which is a miracle in itself. But we just came off our best first quarter, and there was a lot of gloom and doom about 2019 at the middle and end of 2018. It's like, oh boy, there's going to be a correction. Right. And there is going to be a correction in sales. There will be. There's so many, people with driver's licenses and so many cars to sell. It's math. If a dealer is not razor sharp in their fixed operations, and when I talk about fixed, I'm talking about legit fixed, not just turning customer pay repair orders. I'm talking about parts, and I'm talking about if you have a collision center. Collision centers, they're in no gray area. They are, in my experience, they've been either awesome and make a ton of money, or absolute albatross. It's going to carry a dealer down into the bottom of the ocean. There's no in between. But so it's important. But you better be, as a dealer, in my opinion, you better be razor sharp with your fixed operations and your used car department. Mm-hmm. If not, you're in trouble, because you ain't going to make it in new cars. And there's going to be a correction. Now, it might go from 17 to 16.2 or whatever, but those 800,000 cars are meaningful. So a store like yours, man, that's important.
It is, because so the numbers, when you were saying them, I feel like that's not a good average, because they sound a little bit higher than where we're at, but we're pretty close. And it takes a lot of training.
It does. To
be able to handle that the way it should be handled.
Right.
Because then, in my opinion, here's what service advisors do. And when I say that, I'm not meaning all of them, right? Obviously, I'm talking about the ones that can improve.
Right.
They take 2 legs coming in the door and treat them however they want because they know right behind them 2 more are coming.
Wow, yeah.
So about 6 months ago, a little bit more than that, before I went to the first Hustle and Grind conference, I wanted to go to that conference. I was the only service advisor. I wanted to go, though, because I had this idea that the companies that have these platforms that salesmen use to brand themselves need to open them up to service advisors, and service advisors need to brand themselves.
Yes.
So I went there with this idea of maybe I could do that, right? Because I'm just thinking, I'm like all hyped up. I'm working with this awesome company. And then I get there and I'm like, no need to reinvent the wheel. These things already exist. They just need to be modified to work for service advisors, and service advisors need to get up off their butts and want to do it. Okay, so if I'm in a commission-only job, I'm just like a salesperson. Why am I not branding myself?
Right.
So for the last 6 months, that's what I've been doing. You go to my Facebook page, you know what I do.
Yep.
I have a blog, NaomiBussinger.com. I am using QuickPage. I am.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I use it to send messages to brand new customers that buy cars to introduce myself.
Nice.
I use it to the customers that come in and drop off the cars that have something wrong. I go back there and video whatever's wrong.
I was just going to ask you
and
that.
I send it to them so they can see it.
That's huge.
It is huge. There's integrity there. There's trust there. You know, there's no like man behind the curtain. Like I'm being wide open with these people.
Right.
And you have to be able to do that to be able to sustain a real good relationship with a broad clientele.
Right.
I want people to come in and ask to work with me.
Yes.
Because if they ask to work for me, then I am growing my clientele.
Right.
And I'm growing the consumer base around my dealership that trusts my dealership and wants to come do business with us. And more importantly, for me, wants to come do business with me.
Right. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. Not
Got
yet.
to.
Yeah.
Got to when you get home.
Yeah. So, well, this Friday, the first bigger step that I've taken from that stuff is I'm doing my first women's car care clinic. I work a late shift. I go in, my shift is 9 to 7. I go in a little before 9. I get off a little after 7.
Okay.
And right after 7.
That's a late shift?
Well, for service advisors.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We're the latest dealership that stays open the latest in our area.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It's easy for people.
And you stagger the schedule then so people don't get burnt out. The advisors.
Oh, well, yeah.
You got some there at what, 6 and
they all come in
4?
earlier
Okay.
and they get off between 5:30 and 6.
Yeah, love it. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so it helps people who can't get off work to service their vehicle.
Exactly.
Right? So Friday at 7, when my shift is over, I will roll right into a women's car care clinic where I will be showing women how to check their oil, check their fluids, change a tire,
At
check
the
their air
store.
pressure at the store.
That's awesome.
I've ordered Honda tumblers for each one of them. They're going to be full of candy, notepads, pens.
Great.
They each have my business card.
Great
Got
idea.
little coasters to put in their cup holder that have my face on them with my phone number to my
Great
desk.
idea. Great idea.
You know, but
All right, now, okay. Sorry to interrupt.
no, you're good.
Have somebody film it.
They are. We're going to do it live.
And throw it up
Yeah.
on YouTube. Because the most searched term is how to. Mm-hmm. So
That way they can watch it. That's good.
yeah, man.
It's real good.
So whatever topic that week is, how to change your oil or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever
yeah.
it is. And that'll get a lot of hits. You'll get more subscribers and more views than I will.
You think?
No question about it.
Yeah.
That's a zero brainer for you in branding.
Okay.
Zero brainer. And I'm not just saying this. Mm-hmm. We just met, right?
Right.
This is not a setup.
Right.
I mean, and how we met was I looked at my list of bookings, which is pretty extensive, and I had one female. And I'm looking at it. It's right here. And I'm looking at it, and it's like, okay, that's not good. It's like, why is that happening?
Right.
And I looked who I invited, and some said, I'll get back to you, blah, 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 blah. Because people, it's new. People like, we'll see. Respect you, Craig, and all that, but let's see.
Right.
So then I posted in big sellers, and I posted in women in automotive,
Right.
and you contacted me
Immediately.
right through big sellers,
Big sellers.
through
Lisa's
Lisa's,
page. Yeah.
right? And a woman by the name of Sarah. Ooh, I'm going to screw this up. I think it's Hogley. She's awesome. She's going to be out in July.
She is awesome. I just met her recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, at the conference, the Hustle and Grind conference.
Did you?
Mhm.
Okay, so all right, let me jump to that for a minute. This is just a self-serving, interesting story.
It's
But
okay.
so the first hustle and grind was on a. Were those what days of the week are those things on? Are
Like
they,
Thursday,
was
Friday.
it? Was it
Yeah.
okay? So I was all ready to go,
Yeah.
and we're a sponsor. So I sent my assistant and her son Brendan. Shout out to BB, Brendan, and my controller Jody, and Anthony Santangelo,
Mhm.
and our booth was there. And I was supposed to go. Well, on Thursday, my dog, who's a rescue, this dog's been through everything. This dog has been in 3 kill shelters.
Wow.
I got her 6 years ago. Her owner lived above my youngest son's place that he just bought. Turned it into an Airbnb, and this guy lived upstairs and either killed himself or accidentally drug overdose. Not sure. And this was his dog. So they had to take him to the shelter. Gave her 3 days for the family to claim her. Then she was up for adoption, and then this is a quick moving kill shelter. It's like 2 weeks. If they don't get adopted, they get cremated. So my son calls me and said, "Dad, what are we going to do?" I said, "What do you mean? What are we going to do?" And he's got this gigantic older Mastiff Red Boone Coonhound mix. Arlo's his name. He's the most awesome, beautiful, wonderful dog in the world. But he's 14 years old and he's failing. I haven't had a dog in, I've been single for like a really long time. 20. I've been single for 22 years. Haven't had a dog in 23. It's like, I'm like, you think of a set in the way single guy, like, women go like, "No, this guy's too scary, man." Like this guy's, there's no way to mold this guy. This guy's done. So at any rate, I said, "Okay, I'll take her." I didn't even think about it. It was so weird. We walk in the pound. Have you ever been in a kill shelter?
Yeah.
It was like I said, "Son, well, I got to get out of here. I'm going to end up with 7 dogs.
Right.
Let's get out of here right now." And the fear in her eyes. One of her owners, tattooed a satanic tattoo down near her private part, somewhere along her life. That's the life this
Wow.
dog's had. I get her. She tears her ACL. Got to get that repaired. She gets it turned out to be benign cyst that was infected on her tail. Had to have her tail amputated. Now this is after when I got her, she was probably, I've had her for 6.5 years. She was probably 3 or 4. It's hard to tell when I got her. Right after I got her, I had to have my hip replaced. So she spent a month with a dog trainer in his pack. It's kind of a famous guy out here. And spent a month with him because I didn't know what this dog knew or any,
Right.
No clue. So I take her for a walk on a Thursday night and walks with Daddy or everything to her. I mean, it's like everything. It's the world to her. She just looks up at me and we just, squirrel, Daddy, whatever. She's awesome. So we're going for our walk, and about halfway through the walk, she turns around and starts pulling me home. I'm like, that's weird. That was on a Thursday. Friday, we got to the end of my street. I'm the last house on a cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. Got to the end of the street. She turned around and came back. This is a Friday. There's something wrong with my dog. So my vet's a holistic veterinarian. We're really good friends. And they just said, "Bring her in tomorrow." And this is a Saturday, and they don't do this stuff on Saturday. She's not eating. She won't eat a treat. There's something wrong with my dog. So I take her in. They x-ray her. They said, "Well, Craig, there's this mass in front of her stomach. It appears that it may have burst, and that's bad news." I said, "What kind of bad news?" He said, "Well, I'm talking about cancer." Okay, well, what do we do? Well, there's not much we can do. well, there's something we can do. So he said, well, let me make a call. So he calls this, oh gosh, I got to give these people a shout out. Parkway Veterinarian Hospital. Makes an appointment. It was about an hour and a half from my house. I seriously made it there in 50 minutes. I was going 110 miles an hour.
Wow.
Because my dog's dying.
Right.
Like the receptionist at the front desk started crying. It was like, and I had heard all the words, but it wasn't not registering with me.
Right.
It's like, Dixie's not going to die. Well, it's absurd.
Right.
So I fly up there. Just check her in. Doctor comes in. Said, okay, well, we're going to have to talk about euthanizing Dixie. I said, what do you... I said, I understand the word. What do you mean? What are the other options? Well, the other options is we can give her a what the heck is that called that we don't need? Splenectomy, because it was the mass was covering her spleen. So, however, there's blood going throughout her body now, and the chances are 95% that the cancer is spread immediately through her body. Mm. I said, well, what if we do nothing? Well, you take her home, she could bleed out in the car on the way home. 2 days later, a week.
Right.
So we can't make you do this, but it would be the humane thing to do to put her down. I said, well, there is another option, right? Well, they said, yeah, we could perform surgery and hope for a miracle. I said, well, are we talking about 5% here? Well, yeah, Craig, but it's impossible to, 5%, 10%, 1%. It's like, yeah. I said, give me a minute. So I walk outside and they have this gazebo outside, right? So I called my assistant, Joanne. I called Jody, my controller, who I trust. They're fabulous. So the employees, and calling these people employees or team members is ridiculous. They're family to me. So Jody said, just ask God. So I did. And you hear stuff like it's a still small voice, and you hear that stuff, and it's like, I've been around long enough to know, it's like it comes at you differently. But it was real clear. So I go back in. I said, okay, let's do it. So do what? Let's have the surgery. Okay, well, before we do that, let's check her liver, because if it's in her liver, there is zero chance. I said, okay, check her liver. Her liver's going to be fine. Let's just go. Comes back, her liver's fine. Good, do it. And so they did. I was there till whatever time, and I went home, drove home, got a couple hours sleep, came back, and they bring her out. She's like, I'm going, boy, did I make a mistake here? Is she? And I'm like, is she suffering? Is she in pain? Do we have any idea what she feels like right now? Well, we haven't gotten her to eat and this and that, and so I'm bringing toys from home. I'm bringing. She has these squeaky cupcakes she's into. So I'm bringing treats from home. She's not eating. First day, second day, not eating. Third day, they called me and said she ate today. I said, no kidding. I said, well, I want to take her home. Craig, you can't take her home. Just relax. Oh, and then there was the whole thing about how much is it going to cost?
Right.
Because I never asked.
Yeah.
And they said to me, do you want to know how much this costs? And I gave them this, like, what I would think to be a really stupid number. I said, if it's under that, we're good.
Right.
I don't want to know. They said, what do you mean you don't want to know? Because I'm not going to make my decision based on dollars.
Right.
I'm blessed to be able to do that, and that's very fortunate. So finally, after me, I was like, I can be a pain in the ass. And it's like, I'm coming to get my dog. So call the police or what? Well, Craig, we can't not let you take your dog. We're strongly urging it just one more day. Okay. So I come in, and she's like, big smile on her, big goof, stupid hound dog smile on her face, get in the car. So when I get home, the first thing I do, I start writing out a bucket list because it's 95% sure it's gonna come back malignant. She's gonna die. So I'm making out and they gave her 3 months to live after the surgery. If she made it through the surgery, maybe between they said a week to 3 months.
Wow.
They're covering their tracks, right?
Right.
The first thing I do when I get home, I call PetSmart. I said, how much would it cost to rent PetSmart for a day? I said, what? I said, I don't want any customers in there for a day. Well, we're open. Okay, so I don't know, 3 hours, 5, whatever, right? And I told them why, because she loves to go to PetSmart, so it was bucket list stuff, swim in the ocean, for her. So, it's so goofy. So, it's the following Friday, I get a call from the doctor, another doctor who had become very invested in Dixie. And I had posted online, and there were 500 people praying for her, literally. So I answer the phone, and it's the doctor, and the doctor said, and she's crying. And she said, Craig, it's a miracle. It's benign.
Wow.
It's like, it's a dog. But there's zero way to convince me that it had something to do with the doctor's skills, her faith, my faith, and more importantly, I think the faith of a collective group of people that were all on the same page with me about this stupid hound dog. I say all that to say this, that I know I'm aware of a group that you have that you let me in for. I'm going to tell. You let me in for a couple hours. And there's no men allowed.
I did.
And it's called the Oasis.
Yes.
And it's a Christian. I will probably, because again, I'm a chimp, so forgive me about that. But so it's a woman's only faith-based Christian group.
Yes.
Of women from in and out of the automobile industry. I'm assuming that you have a lot of people there.
Any women. Any.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing that?
3 weeks.
Yeah. You're putting some good content in there.
Thank
really.
you.
And I appreciate you letting me kind of
Thank
sneak
you.
in there for a minute.
Yeah.
And I did not leave any comments.
No, I appreciate it, ladies. I'm sorry. But no, I thought it was important for you to see what the group was kind of like.
Right.
And I think that it's just important for people to have a place where they can open up about things.
Yeah.
And work towards healing through them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really important.
That's why I started the group.
Right. It's really
And
important.
I had been wanting to start it for quite some time. But I've been, outside of work, I've been in ministry school. And I had just graduated and got my first little
Have you?
degree there. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I just feel a strong calling from God to help other people understand their worth and their value. And that's the direction I chose to do that. So,
Right. Well, it's so important. Obviously, that's
Very important.
yeah. I think for me, for you, to have that as the center
Yeah.
starting point or whatever, everything kind of falls into place. After
does.
that, if you can keep that in the center or on top, which is really hard.
Well, it is, but when things, go awry, you're able to have this peace,
Right.
knowing that
Right.
it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt, but it's going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this is all way off car business.
Way off.
But this is the idea behind long form
Sure.
podcasts. It's like, it's
Right.
like I'm interested in you, so I get to find out about
Yeah.
you and we get, who cares? No one telling me what to do here. So it's
No
like
one.
we the boss.
We the boss. Yo.
So I don't know about you. So I just when every once in a while, and it doesn't happen very often. I'm talking 3 or 4 times a year. I'll be just dog tired or whatever, and I will forget to say my prayers at night.
Sure.
And I have the worst night's sleep.
Do you?
I wake up crappy as can be, and then that'll screw up my morning routine, which starts with certain things that I do during the course of a morning to get ready before I turn my phone on and get into it.
Right.
Has that ever happened to you? Can you relate? And when I do say my prayers, I'm like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
out for the night, man. I'm like, good to go.
So it certainly has. For me, it's not. For me, it's more of an ongoing relationship,
Yeah.
ongoing conversation throughout the day.
That's hard for me.
Why do you think that is?
I really don't know. I'm not sure that I've developed enough as a Christian. I've given it several attempts.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things my father's 91 years old, Fast Eddie Lockard. Shout out, Dad. He's an awesome person. But through my dad gave me both my vocation. He was in the car business, and put Christ in my life at a later age. Like I'm talking about 16 years ago. So, however, and I don't know what time. I'm going to guess non-denominational church, right?
I go to a Pentecostal church.
Oh, do you? Oh, wow, those are interesting, man. Woo ha! Yelling and screaming and tense. Love it. I know. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, that's cool though. But so in the church I go to, they give you an exact path. You're a baby Christian, you don't know nothing, right?
Sure.
So serve, start getting involved, do this and that, join a small group. So I join a small group. I'm working in the parking lot with an orange vest on and a flashlight.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Yeah.
Because you get, we all got egos. And it's like, so am I in charge of the parking lot? No. You're waving people in and showing them where to park. Dude, that guy
Your
is in charge of the
leadership
parking.
is defined by your ability to serve.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Yeah.
But I still think of myself as a baby Christian, and it's during the course of the day, and because there's just certain things that I haven't done that I know that I need to do and
Right.
should do and will do. Should's a bad word. We end up saying I should do this, I should do that, and we find ourselves standing in a big pile of should.
Right. Well,
Shouldn't all over ourselves.
I think it's really important. It's been really important for me to treat my outside of work life like my work life. For me, this is what I mean by that. I have to know that in my job, people respect my capabilities. I have to be the go-to person. Like, I need to know that people trust that I am going to do my job to the best of my ability.
All coworkers or people that are on your
Anybody.
team? Okay, good.
My customers,
Gotcha.
whatever.
Oh, okay, good.
I need respect in my field.
Gotcha.
And that's how I've always been, whether it was food service, whatever.
Right.
So I never like did that in my personal life though. And so I was leaving just a lot of stuff on the table.
Gotcha.
Those to-do lists that never get done, uttermost procrastination, the life that I used to live and all that. And it wasn't until I started transitioning the same principles that I use in the workplace into my non-work life that I started getting somewhere. And I think that that's, true with anything. You want to know more about God, to read the Bible.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yes.
how many people, how many of us have Bibles that have just been sitting there and not been opened?
Right. They look good.
Right. You want to lose weight, go to the gym.
Right.
You want to save more money, work harder.
Right. And don't spend money on stupid stuff.
Stop flapping your jaws and do something. And that's where like rubber met the road for me.
Right. That's what you're talking about is personal responsibility.
Yeah, I had none for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, God gave us free will is a tricky deal.
Yeah. Well, I grew
Have
up.
at it, guys.
I grew up really not being able to identify who I was as a person. I was overweight my whole life. It's something I battled, for a very long time. And eventually, through all the rejection and all the bullying, when I reached adulthood, I was on this like journey to prove to the world that I could be loved. And that led me into several really not so great relationships.
Yep, of course.
Including a marriage that was very not great.
Right.
And I was 450 pounds.
Get out.
Yeah, I've lost over 200 pounds now. I've got
God bless you.
more to go, but
You look great.
thank you. It's
Right.
it's
It freaked me out how tall you are. It was like,
Yeah, I'm 6 foot. In case anyone.
I know, it's like
it's like, wow, you're tall.
right. I used to be 6'2.5", and I literally have. You really do shrink as you get older. It's
Yeah.
kind of freaky.
My dad's shrinking a little bit.
I know it sucks. Like my dad's like, and he's 91, but he's like tiny now.
Yeah,
It's like
it happens.
he's like a little Keebler elf. Well, he's gonna get me if I say that one, but
He didn't mean anything by it.
no. But it freaked me out when it's like because I think I'm like 6'1" now,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my god, man, I'm looking right dead
I've
into
got
this
heels
woman's.
on too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's an advantage. Tall people have an advantage in life. They do.
I definitely had an advantage. I mean, I can't imagine being short. And
Right. Being bullied's got to be. I
it's
never.
horrible.
I can't. I really don't understand bullying. It's happened to my
just
grandson.
insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just insecurity.
From the bully.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
for
probably
sure.
getting bullied somewhere, right?
Yeah, for
the
sure.
parents
I mean,
or-
they have a horrible life. I mean, I think even as adults, maybe we don't experience bullying like we do in school, but there are
Right.
definitely people that talk about us or try to
Right.
set us up for failure or
Yeah.
laugh at us. And all I can do, right, is just pray for that person
Yeah.
because they must have a miserable life
Correct.
and they must be very alone and very sad. And I feel so sorry for them.
That's a great attitude to have. A great attitude.
It can be frustrating.
Yes.
Sure. But I'll stay in my lane.
Yeah. Social media, especially in the automotive industry, especially in these big groups,
Yes.
I don't engage a lot. I read and look, and there's a lot that goes on, and a lot of it's covert in nature. That bullying,
It is.
It's
Because
not.
they know better. They don't want to be outed, by what they're doing.
Yeah,
It's silly. Like I for the last 6 months while I've been doing the branding stuff, I when I'm not at work, I have been doing a lot of sales training, just straight car salesman training
good.
in our circles online in the automotive community, watching videos, reading books,
Good.
because there's nothing that I can't utilize in a sales training that I can't tweak to make work in service training. And I've, occasionally gotten flack for that.
Why? Or for what? What do you mean?
I've heard remarks,
Oh,
yeah.
on socially, you mean?
peers,
Yeah, gotcha.
but I'm going to do me.
Right.
I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to do me and I'm going to do it well.
Yeah, and you don't have, at least in our brief relationship, no outward self-esteem issues. They don't seem prevalent.
Do you
We
know
all
what's
have them.
so funny?
What?
Because I used to be somebody who stared at the ground, didn't make eye contact, didn't smile, didn't talk.
Well, if you were 400 pounds,
yeah, 450 pounds.
well,
I was miserable.
you take a lot of crap I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I just want it to be invisible,
right.
So I'm thankful to not be there anymore.
I'm
For
sure. And one of the ways to build self-esteem is to try harder stuff.
Right.
And that's what you keep doing.
Yeah.
And if I heard you properly doing sales training, that's out of your cliche comfort zone.
Right.
All the stuff you're doing and thinking about and considering and mapping out, talking to Lisa Copeland and I can only imagine what I would assume it had something to do with next steps in my life. Here's what do you think, kind of thing. And by trying harder stuff, that's how you build self-esteem. Fail or succeed, doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, there is zero people. I don't know anyone that's even close to being what I would consider successful, whether it be financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, relationship-wise, that has not failed in one of those, and sometimes dramatically.
Right.
So the way to build self-esteem in anything you're doing is try harder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is. Try harder stuff.
Yep.
Several years ago, it was like I was watching some show and it was about kayaking. And it was like, well, that looks kind of cool, but I don't know. You got to buy a kayak. So I did that. I went and took kayak lessons, right? It's like, who takes kayak lessons? It was me and a bunch of old people and a couple of young kids out in these stupid kayaks. And it's like, and it's a little hard. And ocean kayaking is a whole different deal. But I got really good at it. And it was so much fun. But that took me into a place where, even at my age, it was like, we all have things, some fears,
Right.
and the devils are, you can't do that.
Right.
That happened. And so the way to battle that stuff, for me at least in my life, was just try harder stuff.
Yeah.
If I don't make it, I don't make it.
Well, you have to. And for me, a lot of it has been about doing the stuff I've never been able to do. So last year was the first year in my journey where I've been able to buy clothes in a normal size store, not a plus size store. So when that happened, I was like, wait a minute. This means that I can probably go to amusement parks and ride the rides.
Oh, wow.
So last summer, I went to every amusement park around me and rode every single ride they had. And it was so much fun.
That is so cool.
I was supposed to go skydiving last year, but the time frame didn't work out. So this summer, Tabitha, who works at one of our other CMA stores, she's about 3 hours from me. We're going to go skydiving to celebrate me losing over 200 pounds.
Tabitha, is that Scott Simon's store?
Yeah.
Okay, those are all those stores.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to go. And with
I've invited Scott, to be honest.
Yeah.
He'd be good, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Seems like it.
But
go ahead.
we're going to do that. No, you're okay. We're going to go
crazy cool.
whitewater rafting. And then my goal is...
Oh, you're going to love that.
I can't wait. My goal is when I'm done with my weight loss and where I want to be, I want to learn how to rock climb.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to do it all. I've spent my whole life not living. I'm going to live now.
How do you eat?
How do I eat?
Yeah, what do you eat?
I had been eating mostly clean eating, right? Just unprocessed things like
organic greens, or mostly, or what? Or
mostly organic. Basically, if there's something I can make and
pricey, man.
And it is. Instead of buy, that's what I do. And then in this last portion, I've been doing keto with Ryan Smith. Yeah.
Okay. I'm on an almost carnivore diet right now.
Are you?
Yeah, almost. Brussels sprouts. Yesterday I had 1 pound, 13 ounces of meat for the day. Brussels sprouts. I got some great Brussels sprouts recipes.
I like Brussels sprouts.
They're awesome.
I don't know why more people don't like them.
But I didn't. I had my first Brussels sprout a month ago.
Shut up.
I swear to God, my assistant, I told her, I said, here's what I want to eat. I don't go to grocery stores. I haven't been into a grocery store in a long time.
Wow.
8 or 9 years. I actually have a legit phobia about food stores. Whatever. So she does my shopping for me. So she said, if I'm shopping, you're eating Brussels sprouts. because they have vitamin K, and I have
They're
some.
good for you.
Yeah, they're awesome,
Yeah.
and they're delicious.
Yeah, they're really good.
So all I do is I eat meat. I can't wait to see these comments. I eat nothing but meat, a lot of it, because of the ruptured Achilles. The protein, I'm trying to get that. This is not going to be a lifelong thing. I don't think. I don't.
Sure.
It's
Have you ever tried bone broth?
no,
It has a lot of healing properties in it, a lot of heavy collagen.
because of the marrow.
Probably good for you.
That's a good idea.
Bone broth.
Bone broth.
Go ahead and get you some.
Get you some.
I told myself when I came on your show I would not swivel in your chair.
Yeah, and what are you doing?
All I've done is swiveled in the chair.
That's right. That's a good thing to do. Well, it's a ab thing. It's an ab workout.
Yes, I'm doing ab workouts.
That's right. Yeah, you come to the Recruiter podcast, you can do ab.
My workout on with my salt lamp.
Yes, that's right. All right, so before I went into the Dixie Miracle story, so
Yes.
so that's why I couldn't go to Hustle and Grind.
Right.
So then I was going to go to this. When was the last one here? December or no?
No,
When
it was it February, April?
Yeah.
Man, I can't remember much.
So it's like a month before that, I ruptured my Achilles. So I had to cancel again.
Smell good.
Oh, man. So Lundy and I talked, and it was like,
I love him.
yeah, he's pretty awesome,
So
dude.
great.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm trying to get him on the show.
You should.
Yeah, it's just time-wise. So, and then my new friend, I just discovered him, Marcus.
Oh yeah, Marcus Stone.
Yeah, the
with
Daily Dose.
Dose.
I really like him. He's a really cool young guy.
He's got so much energy.
He does. I like
And
his
he's
podcast.
really gonna go places. I think.
I think so too. So
I don't even think he knows it. Marcus, we're watching.
we're watching Marcus, and you said you were going to watch today, so better catch us on the replay. I'm going to
No,
tag you.
He's great. I got to talk to him a bunch down there too.
He was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss his shows a lot because it's just I have to catch the replays.
Timing wise is tough, man.
If it was good for me, I would stay on lives for I think
Right.
2.5, 3 hours every morning. I just
know.
can't do it.
I know. Well, you got Lundy, you got Marcus, you got Lisa.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I watch. I'm in the Sales Hustlers in their inner circle. So every morning at 8 on my commute into work, I'm doing the work there too.
I apologize for keep checking the time.
You're good.
Where the car's at, it's only open to 6. It's 5:05, so I got to
Yes.
figure that out. So because or if not, I'm screwed. You'll have to drive me to Atlantic City.
All right.
Actually, it is on your. No, it's not on your way home. So the you make decent money.
Yeah.
What you're doing is fulfilling. However, it's obviously you're a young person. You're not even close to the halfway point yet in your life. God
Thank
willing.
you. Can you say that one more time?
You're a young
Thank you.
person.
Thank you.
I got shoes older than you. So
Wow, that's impressive.
well, that's a fib.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of fibs, we got to get to Fabulous Fibs. There's a game where you
Okay.
get to win prizes.
I'm excited.
So this group is really interesting. You work with
They're amazing.
the opportunities. Do they have corporate training, or how do they do anything corporately?
You mean for like service advisors or what?
For anything do they have a person that goes from store to store or
Yeah, so we use Dealer Pro for service advisor training.
Dealer Pro? Don Reed.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Liza. And then Jonathan Brightman is on sales.
Dealer Pro.
Jonathan Brightman. Sorry, Jonathan Dawson.
Oh, with psychology.
Sales, yeah.
Yeah, I know Jonathan. I held the first, you can look this up, it's kind of interesting. It was the first Christian automotive conference. It was called Run Your Dealership by the Book, capital B.
Nice.
And a gentleman by Dave Anderson, who's one of the most, I respect him. He's a Christian guy and just a absolute, follow him on Twitter. He's not on Facebook.
Okay.
Check him out on Twitter. Dave Anderson. I'll give you his information
I can
after.
always rewatch this.
Oh, yeah. He's awesome. And he was the keynote, my pastor, and Dave were there. Let us not forget who took you to Saddleback first. That was from Jody Atkins. Are you familiar with Saddleback Church? Rick Warren? Yeah.
Yeah.
Purpose Driven Life.
Yeah. Great book.
That's her church.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody, for the reminder. So what was I talking about? Where was I going with that?
You were talking about one, I make decent money, I fulfill.
Oh,
my
that's right.
job.
So all right. So you have outside training
Yes.
coming in, which is good.
Mm-hmm. We're an ESOP.
Yes. Be nice for you to be able for them to bring that in house and have you do some of that stuff.
I would love to do that stuff.
Right?
You know why? Because here's where every industry is really missing the picture in one aspect or the other. When a customer comes in the service lane to see me, the first 30 seconds, every single time, I am assessing them as quickly as possible
Right.
to see exactly how I need to mirror myself to them.
Right. Good.
Now, that's just not body language. You hear people talking about you need to mirror their body language, whatever. It's not just body language. It's tonality.
Yes.
It's even your word choice.
Yes.
Whether you're going to use a little bit of slang from the area or not.
Yes.
How close you're going to stand to them. Everything.
Who taught you this stuff?
This is what I know. Like if you're born with anything, this is what I know. Like getting along with people.
You're spot on, girl.
Well, I'm not trying to like say, I'm amazing.
You are amazing. You're spot on with that.
Thank
what
you.
you just said.
But I want other people to realize this, because if you can realize this and if you can really grasp that,
Right.
and analyzing like the disc profile when someone comes in,
Right.
and knowing what they need from you,
Right.
then one, they're going to feel comfortable with you. Two, they're going to be a forever client. Three, your sales are going to go up. Four, they're going to tell other people, right?
Yep.
But if you take that outside of the industry into your relationships with your spouse, with your family members, with friends, with your children, and also incorporate things in like the love languages and,
Right.
and that whole scheme, life is only about relationship building. And if we can pour in enough to our employees and invest in them enough to make sure that they're healthy and have a good amount of emotional intelligence, then you will have more productive employees and be in a much better place. And that, I truly believe the key to fixing the auto industry is that. It's that.
Do your bosses understand your position on this stuff? Do they know this? What you just said to me, and 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 other people. Do they know this about you?
I feel like they know some of it.
You got to tell them.
Yeah.
You got to tell them.
I feel like I have a really great relationship with them.
Well, it sounds like it.
And I feel like that,
Let them know who you really are.
yeah. I
It's
feel
important.
like they know where I want to go. Yeah.
Sounds like it to me. Sounds like it to me. It's going to be interesting to watch your career.
Yeah.
It really
I hope
is.
so.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting. You're going to blow some minds.
I just want to make sure that people, so whether we're dealing with the Oasis, the group, or we're dealing with my coworkers, or we're dealing with maybe people in my future that I can help get jobs, I want everybody to just understand that they have value and they have worth and that they have the ability to grow, and they don't have to accept the life that they've been living.
Right.
You don't have to. If you're willing to put in the work and have a little bit of grit and determination, you do not have to accept the life that you've been living.
That's absolutely correct. You don't.
No.
Personal choice.
In every aspect, whether
Right.
it's your personal life, your work life, or any of it.
Right.
You don't have to accept where you're at,
Right.
but you do have to, make the decision.
Yeah.
You do.
Right. Yeah. No risk, no reward.
No. I get up at 4:30 in the morning every now. I don't have to be at work till 9. I get up at 4:30 every single morning, and it sucks. But I do it because if I don't, then I'm rushed. I haven't educated myself. I haven't grown a little bit. I haven't had time in the Word. I haven't had time in prayer. I'm frazzled going to work.
Right.
You know, I need that.
Right.
I need, even though I'm alone, I have no kids in my house. I have no animals in my house. I still need that time away from social media, away from the TV, internet, any of that. I need alone time so I can keep growing.
Right.
You know, we need to get people to that level.
Yeah. Yeah. Very few top performers really enjoy their routine.
I hate my routine.
Yeah.
I hate my routine.
I think you need to suffer.
Yeah.
It's wordplay, but you need to suffer to be successful. It's just none of this comes easy.
Right.
You know, if you want to lose 200 pounds or
Yeah.
whatever it is, I mean, it's like it's not hoping it and gonna make it happen. You can be
No.
as motivational as you
Dude,
want.
I tried my whole life. I'm going to show you a picture.
Yeah.
I tried my whole life to lose weight. I tried everything. I even had weight loss surgery and failed at that.
No
I
way.
did. You know why? Because I never healed my mind. I had emotional stuff that I needed to deal with that I never dealt with. And I didn't even know I needed to deal with. I didn't even know who I was.
I never healed my mind.
No.
Huh.
You can't do anything, you know,
Right.
when it comes to addiction, because that's what it was.
Right.
Right?
I get right.
Until you heal your mind, until you heal your emotions.
Right.
Like there's stuff you have to face it. Sometimes you want to run from so much you don't even realize it's there. This is truth.
This is interesting. I bet people had no clue what we're talking about here. Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal. You're going to keep this on your phone for a while.
Oh, it stays on there.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. And it's not that I still don't have moments where I fail. You know, like I should have been done with the weight loss journey by now, but I'm not giving up and I'm still pushing and I'm still succeeding.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's, our health is a choice that, you've just made a choice to live healthier the rest of your life.
Sure.
And which consequently, Robin says something, and I say it a lot. I was at an Innovative Dealer Summit, and Troy Springer was going to speak. He was a keynote, and he asked me to get the crowd jazzed up. So I go through this Tony Robbins thing, this, ooh, yes, clap thing. But Robbins says that our physiology, our cells, things we put in our bodies, the way that we move, the way that we exercise our bodies, our physiology determines our psychology, how we think.
It does.
Which then in turn, ultimately, has everything to do with how we act.
It does.
So
Yeah.
when you're 450 pounds, you're eating, a
Crap.
lot of horrible stuff.
Yeah. Out of
constantly.
breath, rolling over in bed.
Yeah. Wow. I can't imagine. So you do that, it's got to screw with your head.
Yeah.
How could you have positive thoughts? Or what could you...
There were none. I
Right?
had suicidal thoughts.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then consequently, that affects your actions.
Yeah.
You just lay around, don't do anything, feel sorry for yourself, victim
And
mentality.
that is exactly what Satan wants, right?
Exactly right.
'Cause-
Always all over
Because you
that.
have potential
Right.
in life. You have potential in life.
Right. All over that.
Right. So
Yeah. It's crazy,
Yeah.
right? And that becomes a vicious cycle.
it does.
So,
It really does.
Yeah.
And even when you're on the comeback, right? I was just talking to Erica about that this morning. Sometimes I have a really hard time in those moments when I'm at home by myself. I used to be on depression and anxiety medication, and I'm not anymore. But I still sometimes struggle with a little feeling of depression. And it's more so thoughts of, you can't do this. Look at all the stuff you've done in your past. Look at how horrible of a person you are. Just go back. You just messed up yesterday and had a cheeseburger.
yeah, negative
Who are you
self-talk.
fooling?
Yeah.
And sometimes though, I say that because sometimes when you're on the comeback, it's a steady fight of the same stuff you thought you've just overcome, but now you have hope.
Right.
And you just have to keep applying what you've learned and being relentless in that.
Right.
And choosing to not lay down and choosing to stand up and keep going.
Right. I would think your group, just to skip back to the Oasis for
Sure.
a minute, would help you because you've formed the group.
Right.
So you're a leader, yet you mentioned earlier servant leader, and that's the best leadership, obviously. That's how Jesus did it. So, washing feet and so forth. I would think that would put you in it's kind of like a check mark for you, kind of like.
It is. Holds me accountable.
Right, exactly. That's important to you
Very important.
personally.
Yes.
The added benefit is you get to help women that could be thinking the exact same thing right now, the exact same thing, and contemplating ending it or what have you. I read, this could be a total lie, but I really should. I should have Google here all the time just so I Google home.
Google says.
Right. So
You need a shirt that says that.
I guess women. I'm going to screw. I'll screw up the stat, but the general basis of what I'm about to say is true, based on the data that I read, that women contemplate or consider suicide at a much larger rate than men, but yet men actually
Go through with it.
Yeah. Just because of the difference between men and women, but it's it sucks that women have to go through that. Those thoughts are so much more prevalent, but it's obvious. I mean, go to my Instagram. It's like you got to be kidding. All these women are airbrushed. If they're not, their whole life is about their bodies and what it's supposed to look like. And I can't imagine. I have 3 granddaughters, and and they're all stunningly beautiful. I mean, like Gerber baby. Oh my God, beautiful. And it scares me.
Yeah, it's hard being a woman in that aspect.
Yeah, man.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, how can you you got what's her? Is it Kylie Jenner? Is she the?
I think so.
I mean,
I don't watch any of those.
she's a legit billionaire.
Yeah.
Straight from Instagram.
Right.
From pictures.
Right.
It's just like in cosmetics and whatever. And
So we've really done our women an injustice
in
culture today and media today.
I think so.
We truly have. We haven't taught them that they have value other than the shape of their face or the shape of their body or anything like that.
It's so unnecessary. It's just so unnecessary to be based on the content of our character, Martin Luther King. It just is so much simpler. Let's make decisions on hiring people and developing people based on their heart, their intellect, their
absolutely.
It just there's no reason to go a different direction.
Right.
There's zero reason other than it's always been done that way, or this is the way I was raised, or bad experiences in the past. I mean, the turnover rate for females in the automobile business in the sales department is 90%. 9 out of 10 don't make it. Now, I just that's gotta stop, man. I mean, that's gotta stop. There's just we as an industry are just stepping over like big dollars to pick up dimes.
Yeah.
If we're not, and I totally believe in equality of opportunity, equality of outcomes, a whole different story. But a more diverse team in your dealership is an absolute must. And it is more so the customer is demanding it now.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody who doesn't want to be comfortable?
Right. Exactly right.
I mean, if we are trying to reach as many people as possible, then why would we not have as many diverse people as possible in the workplace so that they feel like they relate to somebody there?
That's exactly right.
I was reading this awful forum post the other night about a certain ethnicity and how to handle them in your dealership.
Okay.
Instead of having that conversation, why are we not trying to find someone that they would feel comfortable with? Instead of ostracizing them,
I gotcha. I bet I can.
I know you can, and saying that they're difficult.
Yep.
Instead of doing that, why aren't we finding a way to make them feel comfortable and valued because we want them as a client? I don't get it. There's so many times where we just are doing things completely opposite of the way we need to do them. And then we wonder where the automotive industry went wrong.
Yeah, that makes it pretty simple. The answer is right smack dab in front of us.
You had too many egotistical people running around thinking that they own everything and that their way is the only way. And their way is almost always so far away from the way it should be.
I got to wrap this thing up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I want you to win a prize.
I want to win a prize.
Are you ready to play Fabulous Fibs? Fabulous Fibs.
I'm going to need you to work on that.
Okay.
But I'm ready.
All right. Just send me something. All right. Naomi.
Yes.
Now I'm going to say these twice.
Okay. What am I doing?
All right. So I'm going to read you 3 statements.
Okay.
Only one is true.
Okay.
So the other 2 are fibs.
Okay.
So that's why it's called Fabulous Fibs. Fabulous Fibs.
All right. So I need to guess
The true one. So, number 1. In 2018, the median pay for U.S. automotive technicians was less than $45,000. I'll say all these again. Number 2, Ernie Kasprowitz, my partner who you met, is a Philadelphia Phillies season ticket holder. In 1996, the United States lifted their ban on hard liquor advertisement on TV and radio. Jack Daniels was the first hard liquor to be advertised on TV and radio. Okay, so let me go through them again. Number 1, in 2018, the median pay for U.S. automotive technicians was less than $45,000. Number 2, Ernie Kasprowitz is a Philadelphia Phillies season ticket holder. Number 3, in 1996, the U.S. lifted their ban on hard liquor advertisement on TV and radio. Jack Daniels was the first hard liquor to be advertised on TV and radio. Which is the true statement?
This is difficult, and I'll tell you why. Option number 1 could make you want to say, oh, that's not true. It takes make way more than that. But how many do you do? Option number 2 is difficult because I don't know Ernie.
Right. Yeah, that would strictly be a guess.
And so is option number 3.
It's
So
tricky.
I'm going to go with option number 3. Oh, so sad. What is it?
Number 1, in 2018, this is a little tricky. The median gets it. It makes it a little tricky because median's different from average. So U.S. automotive technicians was less than $45,000 is a true statement. It's $40,710. Dang. Yeah. You got to figure in. You got
A lot of new guys right out of school.
right. You got that. You got in the middle of Idaho somewhere at
Right.
$28,000 and buys them a nice home and
Right.
10 acres of land. So or you got San Francisco where it's 150 for a B-level tech. Ernie has season tickets to the Eagles, and Seagram's Crown Royal was the.
Dang.
That's right, though. You get a second chance.
I'm very excited about this second chance.
Okay, so this is a biblical question.
I'm all of a sudden not excited about it.
Let's see. How can I do this with you? Because that would make it really hard, so I can't do it that way.
Maybe you should just give me the prize because I'm the first female guest.
I think I'm going to do that.
Yes.
You know what, though? I like Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. There's just so much truth
It's a
in
good
that.
one. It is. That would be a good one for the Oasis.
It is.
Because that's what you guys are doing, really,
Yeah.
is sharpening each other, and the only way to sharpen iron is with iron.
It's really good.
So you get yourself an 88 Honda CRX.
I'm very excited about this. I'm going to put it on my desk at work.
because you work at what type of dealership?
Honda.
So are we on our game or what? We don't miss nothing here at
Y'all
the
are
Recruiter
amazing. You got the fancy water,
Podcast. Unbelievable.
fancy car,
Himalayan salt lamp,
Himalayan salt lamp,
3 cameras.
3 cameras,
Right. Put you up in a hotel.
and a hotel. That was amazing.
Was it a good hotel? Is that good? I've never been in there. They
It's nice. It's very
talking to
nice.
them, they were amazing
They have
people.
amazing customer service.
Was it good? Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously. The girl working at the desk with the blonde hair, I don't remember her name, but you should go find a dealership for her to work at.
Well, when I talked to whoever, I forget, it might have been her.
You know what? You know why they were amazing? Erica ended up coming with me up here.
Right.
So when I checked in, I was like, do you guys by any chance have a room that has 2 beds? And they were like, we do, but it's $20 more a night. Would you like that? I'm like, no, I don't want to increase the price at all. I'll just deal with what I have. Not a big deal at all, right?
Right.
She's like, it has a pull-out sofa. A couple moments later goes by. She's like, I wouldn't want to sleep on that pull-out sofa. I'm just going to give you the room for the same price.
Whoa.
I was like, thank you. That was amazing. She didn't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You didn't put that stuff on your card, did you?
No.
Okay. All right.
But I wasn't going to
Right.
charge yours anymore.
Yeah. No, that's good customer service.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really cost them anything.
No, she's seen a need and she
Right.
took care of it.
How to wind this thing up? What do you want to be when you grow up? No. I want to have, you know what? I really, and hold me to this.
Okay.
Okay, this fall or something,
Yeah.
let's check back. Let's see where you're at. Let's see what you're doing.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Or get you and Scott up here together, or you and, I don't know, whatever.
You need to have Liza on your show.
I'm in. Have her reach out to me.
Yeah. We could come back up and both be on it
Let's do
in
that.
the fall.
Let's do that. You have an open invitation.
Okay.
I want to follow your career. You're an interesting person.
Thank you.
You really are. You're a very interesting person.
Thank you.
You have character. You're strong.
Mm-hmm.
You have a vision.
I do. For the first time in my life.
It's important.
great.
And if there's any way that we, AutoMax, can help you, you just pick up the phone
Thank
and
you.
we will do whatever I am actually capable of doing. We will do for you for
Thank you.
sure. Literally anything.
Thank you.
Okay, you're surrounding yourself with good people, so that's really important. That tribe
It
thing,
is. Yes.
it's pretty important, man.
I've been through a lot this year of unexpected things that came up, and
Yeah.
you're not going to do this by yourself.
Right.
From my GM to Liza to Glenn Lundy to like good people.
Yeah, let me tell you that's where it gets tricky. There's a point, it's like a plateau that happened to me, and a lot of people that I know that are either, I know some really like crazy financially successful people. I know some people that just have an average home, but their life is just like, it's like it really is TV.
Right.
Right? Most of those people happen to be in the church. But what I found out is there's a certain point, a lot of times, not all the time, where I don't know if it's, I don't need my tribe anymore. I don't need a coach anymore. I don't need an accountability partner anymore. And that's really tricky, dangerous
That's a scary
territory.
place to be, I would imagine.
Really is.
Yeah.
And I've gone through it a couple times. When all hell broke loose in 08 and 09, it was pretty brutal. To be an automotive recruiting company in 08 and 09,
Can
we're
imagine.
calling dealers and the phone rings and no one picks up. It's like,
Right.
dude, they're out of business.
Right.
It's like, what? And it's like, hey, could you use any inexperienced salespeople on your showroom floor right now? It's like, what, are you
Wow.
kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
If you can get me a customer in here with a credit score over, 650, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
So it was brutal.
You need a tribe. You need people in your life because
You
you
do.
know what you need? You need to have the ability to give and receive
Right.
sandpaper conversations.
It has sandpaper conversations. I like that.
You do. I don't like anything sugar-coated in my
Jeez,
life anymore.
dude, that's people don't talk like you. That's really important. Saying no is really super hard to do.
Yeah.
And
But
face
you
to
have
face
to
to
be
face
able
is
to.
really hard to do.
Right.
On the phone's not so hard. Telling a person, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
In a nice way, in a constructive way, that's
Sure.
going to help both people
Sure.
is really hard to do.
Yeah. If
Sandpaper conversations.
Sandpaper conversations. If you're in my circle and there's something going on and you are going to come to me for advice, if you're in my circle, you know what to expect. And it's not an arrogant thing. It's not an egotistical thing or me being rude. It's me loving you enough to tell you the truth because that's what I expect and demand in return. Like, I need you to tell me the truth. I need you to hold me accountable. And I'm going to do the same for you.
That's going to take you far.
Thank you.
Along with a lot of other stuff.
Thanks.
Look, I really enjoyed you being on here today.
I enjoyed being here.
In dealing with all the with the car thing.
It's funny. We're car people. We had a car problem. We had to make sure it was handled.
Right? Yeah, it was all set up, everybody. That was all a complete setup.
I called the guy. I told him he was coming.
Yep, absolutely. Really, I'm very grateful that you did what you did. It was a big sacrifice on your part. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no, it was fun.
And you have an open invitation.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come back.
Thank you.
All right, nice job.
Thanks.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.